Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Barons Club podcast. Let's switch the scene real quick. There we go. There's our beautiful transition screen. Love to see it. All right. That's your boy, Gilda M. Got Enko and Sam. One last round because 3 rounds is still probably not enough. But you know what? We're here for round 3. Big news. Pretty much everything that we speculated in the last 2 podcasts comes down to this because now we actually have a lot to debate on, a lot of discussions, right? There's just so much to go through right now. So initially for me, when at least the news of End of Dragons, which we kind of expected the last update, right? I was honestly surprised about a lot of things, particularly, and even Sam and Enko and a lot of other players in the game, about the Legendary Armory being, free. Like they literally put a tweet out on Twitter saying that it's actually free, and I think somebody in the comments in the forums, one of the ANET devs actually even confirmed it being absolutely free. One of the big topics today that we're going to be discussing. Now there's a lot of other things that we are going to talk about, as well as the roadmap and how that affects to the whole economy from now until July 13th until July 27th. The roadmap kind of puts a plan on what you kind of can do and can't do in the economy, stuff like that. So for me, initial reaction was it's a lot of excitement, a lot of big news. Good to see ANET actually putting in a roadmap, but it does throw the economy up in the air. So for me personally, I see a lot of opportunity here, and I'm sure the other two agree with me. But yeah, Enko and Sam, what was your initial reactions when you saw that announcement of End of Dragons and Armory as well?
Let's see. My initial reactions when Armory came out. Yeah. Symbols of control. Legendary upgrades going to be crazy. Legendary upgrades are going to be crazy.
You know what? That's going to be the thumbnail for the video.
That's going to be great.
All right, guys. So the reason why I say this, so just for some numbers, I've posted this a few times in the Overflow Discord, but if you guys look at the differences in upgrades for like the symbols and charms, and you take a look at the supply on each of those, there is one particular one that is extremely low compared to others. Let me see if I can find my post.
While you look to find it, I'm just going to add to that, and that is without taking into account the fact that some charms and symbols are more used than others. For example, enhancement is used for full sigil. You can use, I believe, pain for like impact sigils, which are very used in PvE. And also the charm of brilliance is like overly used for the crafting in the winter, but also for superior rune of the scholar. So like technically the ones we should have the least supply of should be these 3. Because they're the one that gets, shuffled around the most. And yet
I hate Discord's search options, by the way. Like sometimes it won't pull up, like when you type in from, it doesn't pull up like the user sometimes.
You have to do it, well, from the application it should be fine, but if it's on browser, then yeah.
No, I'm doing it from the application. Like it won't
browser can be very awkward.
Yikes.
So I'll just pull from some statistics that I have on the spreadsheet. So if you look at the drop rates on symbols of controls, from Masterworks, just straight up Masterworks in the game, it's a 0.16% chance to salvage a symbol of control. We're talking about all items. Well, enhancements, it's 0.47, paint is 0.38, brilliance is 0.41, and potence is 0.29, and skills is 0.27. Like the differences is just so. It's insane, the differences that ANET put in on control symbols. I really want to find this freaking graphic. I'm gonna.
By the way,
no, I can't restart this.
Yeah, SMG, thank you so much for the raid, brother. Good to see you. Make sure you guys follow SMG Phoenix channel, doing a lot of raid content over there. Look at all those followers. Yeah. No, I think like to add to that, it's just kind of like the supply is just like people are telling us like, well, if all the people who process units and everything do it together, they can easily generate the supply. And it's like, no, there's like, I think Enko and maybe 2 other people have a very extensive, I would say, data set on units. And you'd be surprised. I think Enko has the even exact number of how many produce, like, say, 100 symbols. Yeah. Comes in directly.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm trying to pull up right now. Except, okay, I was able to do it on my other computer. Let me see if I can find that post.
While you're doing that, Sam, what was your initial reaction?
Here it is.
Well, my reaction when I saw the it's not only seeing the end of Dragon announcement, so to speak. It was more like seeing the entirety of the roadmap. First of all, I was very happy that we finally get a roadmap, and then my second reaction was, okay, how am I going to profit from that? Because there is a lot of stuff that's going to happen in it, and while it might seem like they're just tossing every bit of repeatable, easy to put back in the game content, like although it looks like this. From the background, there is much more to it. Like there are opportunities all around. And
all right,
so yes,
the green screen. I got it up. The green screen's cutting out 2 of them though.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say, Enko.
Hey, turn off the green screen effects on my channel for a second.
Okay.
The organization level, guys.
Filters.
Well, it doesn't help that skill and enhancements are green, so the green screen's covering it up.
Is that better?
Yeah, now we can see them, no problem.
Okay, so this is how many this is how many charms and symbols drop from opening 100,000 un-ID greens, and from salvaging all the miners that that come out of it. So if you look at the differences, you only get 138 controls, and like enhances 433, pains are 382, and then so those are for symbols, and then for charms you get 403 brilliance, 251 potence, and 248 skills. Now the reason why brilliance are so up because of scholar runes, snowfall runes, and like there's a bunch of useful runes in brilliance which make up for the differences, but controls are so low in quantity for like what drops them, like just average dropping from the game. And it's actually pretty ridiculous how low it is. So taking that into account, and there's actually some useful sigils that use controls. But when it comes to Armory, though, Armory doesn't care about how many there are in the game. It takes 75, or the legendary sigils rather, it takes 75 of each symbol to make it. So when you're making enhancements at 3 times the rate that you're making controls, and pains are 2.5 the rate of controls, and you need 75 of each. So this is 100,000 greens. This isn't even enough to make 2 legendary sigils when it comes in terms of control symbols. So if you need 4, you can turn off the green screen. I'll turn back my camera now.
Oh, okay.
If you need 4 legendary sigils for 4 land weapons and 8 if you're doing underwater weapons, yeah, that means you need 300 for your land weapons. If you're doing both sets of like underwater and land weapons, then you need 600 control symbols. Like the difference in that is just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So that is why, yes, control symbols.
Hypnotized
but
by the end of the stream.
Like if you look at it right now, they're like gold. They were like 30 silver before the notes came out, and like I talked about this for a pretty long time in my stream, about it. But like, I'm not buying them. Like I'm not like I bought maybe a couple stacks, but I'm not like buying like 20, 30,000. Or for one, there are that many on the trading post. There's only like 5,000.
You wouldn't be able even if you wanted to.
So. If somebody wanted to manipulate the market on this because they want to just buy them up to like 8 gold each, they would only get 5,000, and then they would have to wait for the game to generate more from other players. So it's not even that we can really manipulate it; it's more that there's not any there to manipulate. So
there's a lack of supply.
There have been
Sam, yeah, you wanted to add to that, right? Before Enko pulled up the picture.
Yeah, I mean, I was still talking about the whole EOD roadmap. Like the first thing I was very happy to see is that we're getting EOD this year, because they could have also just told us we're gonna need more time. Like, hey, Icebreath Saga over, we still need time, it's gonna be a 2022 thing. So first thing we know is it's coming this year. We get a proper live stream at the end of the month of July, which is going to be very important because it's probably going to show us a lot of the new things in the expansion. So if you miss that stream and whatever opportunities arise from it, then you're going to be sorry. And yeah, as I was saying, it's also the big roadmap that we get for the summer. There are a lot of events that are going to have an economical impact on the game due to their capacity to move the player base around, to introduce or remove sinks or faucets. And yeah, all of that is going to be very important leading up to End of Dragons. Like, before Heart of Thorns, we had a huge content drought, which was terrible for the economy. Before Path of Fire, it was a little bit better, but not too good. And now we basically know where it's going. We have had 2 expansions to know what happens to the economy in general. It's time to get ready for it. So yeah, that's what I had in mind when I saw the announcement.
You know your video that you released, the roadmap video on YouTube that you posted a few days ago? So Zushin's lecture was basically modeled after that entire video. Like, he shared your video as the entire basis of his lecture, and how like people need to prepare and stuff like that. And it's not something we haven't been saying too. Like, all 3 of us, a lot of people on the overflow itself, like everyone's been in this idea of you need to prepare now, because once the announcement starts, you start missing out on things that you could have already prepared for previously, right? Because as you've seen, like, things are already starting to go crazy in the economy. Prices are up and down everywhere. And the roadmap announcement generates that type of excitement, brings back player bases. So you start to see a lot of changes. And so for anybody that's not in that same mentality of like, I need to still prepare, now's the time, because when the expansion comes out, you don't want to be still stuck doing the old content because you have to do that to catch up to do the expansion. No, you want to enjoy the expansion when it comes out, right? You can only do that if you're ready, if you achieved whatever you're trying to achieve before the release date. And that's what's going to take.
When you say enjoying the expansion, like that reminds me of what happened back when Path of Fire released. I remember back then, the TP Discord didn't exist in its current form, or maybe didn't exist at all. And like the main hub I had for talking about the economy was the Guild Wars 2 economy Discord, as well as the Guild Wars 2 Exchange Discord, like the back end part of it. And it was just Enko and Dan being in channel together, just like bouncing ideas while trying out the expansion. And I hope to see this happen with like the big community you've been creating around the in-game economy and the trading, that people will just get into a channel together, start sharing ideas as fast as possible, and see what can be done as the expansion launches, because there are going to be a lot of things you want to get early onto. Like when it came to Path of Fire, it wasn't maybe as hardcore as Heart of Thorns, but like quite instantly there were some items that could be cornered because you would see they dropped horribly or would be extremely interesting. Like the lilies, for instance, were quite interesting where Heart of Thorn came out. Same for so what was the name of it? That one orb that you needed to craft. It wasn't nomads, or was it nomad? No, minstrels.
Minstrel, yeah.
Yeah, there was also that one that skyrocketed right off the bat, because you look at the stats, you start paying attention to it because you already know what's good in PvE, what's good in PvP. Yeah, freshwater pearl. There you go. Like there are so many things that you need to keep your eyes out open for. You know. So if you have a little bit of PvE, PvP, water social knowledge, you can already like expect something, and then start bidding early on, because a lot of people are just gonna come back to the game. Whatever drops they get, they're just gonna sell it on the trading post because they will need the cash to get started.
So if we're talking about like when End of Dragons comes out, like what you should do if we're talking purely in terms of economy, if you're trying to like set yourself up to make some money or to make some gold rather, the first thing you guys should be doing like when the patches come out. This is just not for End of Dragons. I'll talk just patches in general, and then we'll talk specifically End of Dragons. Like when patches come out, pull up the patch notes. Like have the game ready, like open, ready to go, not patched like before it. like as soon as the patch notes come out, take a look at the patch notes and go through, skip the story stuff, look at the balance patch changes, look what's coming out of the Black Lion chest, look what affects anything that can be traded, and then if you can get in there quickly enough, then you can buy up some stuff when you see it, if you see it's going to be used. Granted, sometimes the prices really don't go up that much, depends on the item, but like something simple, like for Black Lion chests, if you guys open Black Lion chests, you guys should be opening those as soon as the patch comes out, so that if you get any of the Black Lion skins that drop, you instant sell them right away. It's one of the few times you should instant sell before people cancel their orders, because this doesn't happen as often because the prices aren't really like super crazy. But if you could catch people buy orders before they cancel them because they're now in the new Black Lion chest, you can make some extra gold pretty quickly with that. Otherwise, you're stuck with like a 20 gold skin. So read the patch notes as soon as they come out. So likewise, when End of Dragons comes out, well, besides End of Dragons, other patches too, if that new vendor is introduced, like we've been getting the DRMs, and you've been getting, like, go take a look what the vendor drops. Like, look at what the prices are, look what they cost. Like, see if an item that you've been holding is now available from another source, the price is probably going to drop. So you might want to get rid of them quickly. So if you look at what's available in all the DRM boxes, like the Volcanic Stormcaller weapons are all available. Those also drop, which the prices have dropped a lot in the last couple of DRMs. So check the new vendors. Check vendors that come out. Check changes. This goes for all the festivals. See what else is new. So same with End of Dragons. When End of Dragons comes out, most people, they're going to start doing the story right away. Sometimes you do need to do content to get access to some vendors, but whenever you get to a new area, go check the vendors, see what they're taking. Like, see what it costs to craft new items. Like, chances are we're going to get new stat sets in EOD. Well,
exactly.
hopefully.
That's what I was hinting at earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be good. Like, I really would like to have 2 stats gear, because that would be mad. Because at some point you get capped on some stats. It becomes interesting to go higher.
2 stat
I mean,
gear would actually push the game in a different direction too. It would actually put even more of a variety of skills and traits and balancing. Have 2 stat gear, like, yeah, I would.
I mean, 2 stat gear, it would specifically allow us to like patch some issues that we have with current gear, because there are some stats you get too much off on some classes, and you need to mix and match gear and mix and match runes, just because you're overcapping on one stat, and it becomes detrimental to the build. If we get 2 stats gear, it can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we actually got a Condi based stat, like a 4 stat set that's purely Condi based? Like, instead of Viper's power, precision, Condi damage, expertise, if it was just Condi damage, expertise, precision.
Yeah, that
like
would be
3
big.
stat set for that.
I could see the Firebrands right now. The Fire Nation's about to attack.
We don't. Firebrands don't use purely Vipers though. We use Grieving and Sinisters also, but that's basically because so many of the Guardian weapons have so many, like, such good power coefficients that it's worth it. But yeah, it's like the new stats. Like, look at what it costs to craft them when End of Dragons drops. So a lot of people, you're just gonna go like, we want to go through the story. We want to see what the story does. We want to get to the new metas. We want to get the new infusions. Like, we want to get those super high-end drops. Like, oh, there's probably going to be a new infusion like the Chalk infusion from a meta event type thing, right? Well, you're going to actually, or the confetti. Like, you'll actually be better off looking at, hey, the new stat, what materials do we need for that? And then it's like, oh crap, it requires this new material from it. And if it's a good stat, you just start buying them up. So if you got into freshwater pearls, like when Hot first came out, and everybody was trying to get Commander's gear, was the freshwater pearls for Commander's gear? I don't even remember. But whatever it was, the freshwater pearls were minstrels. Like, when the minstrels took off, everyone started running those. If you got into those really early, and you were getting them because, like, at the beginning, everyone's like, this sucks, it's toughness, nobody wants it. And you just bought up a bunch from the beginning, and then a couple months later, everyone's like, oh crap, Minstrel's actually really, really good for tanks. Minstrel's actually really, really good for support players. Minstrel's is actually really, really good in, like, Rova's World, and then the price, like, skyrocketed to, like, 5-7 gold. Actually, at a point, they were 15 gold. Because they cost 25 freshwater pearls instead of the 5 now.
You also needed them for, like, the superior sigil of concentration. Like, I mean, right now we have another source for them, but before that you needed to actually craft them. That was also a big difference.
And the drop rate on them is low too. So if you got in on them when they're like a gold, and then you sold them all when they're 15 gold, that's 1500% profit.
The thing is, like, well, a lot of things that come out in patch notes or new story, let's just say new living seasons, right, or new expansion, there is a lot of those items that you can kind of treat them as big tickets, because the moment you start making money them in the first few days, like, that's the short window for those specific items. It's simply because some people want to buy them quickly because there's not enough of them in the game. But you give it a month, and this item that you think is rare, actually you figure out, like, oh no, this has a quite amount of like resources to be dropped from somewhere. So it's just a matter of time until this becomes just a regular item, right? But if you're in the first week getting into all those items, quickly listing them, buying, I mean, yeah, you could have buy orders that go up to like to the point where you're like, you know what, I might just sell it to the buy order because I know that this price is not where this item should be at, right? This is an item that should be worth 50 silver, but it's selling at 4 gold, 5 gold right now. Go ahead, sell to the buy order, because you know that 2 weeks from now, that thing is tanking. But you can't do that 2 weeks later. You have to do that immediately when the game first comes out, when the expansion first drops, or when an update first comes out. So this is kind of why a lot of people usually rush to, look at the patch notes maybe 30-40 minutes into the game. Like, they want to first finish the content, then go do the patch notes. And I think a very small percentage of the players actually read the patch notes first, then go to the playing the game, right? And most people who do reach the patch note, like most people who read the patch notes, just don't actually bother doing anything with it aside from like maybe changing their gear or something like that. But then they don't really, try to go in on the whole technical economy part of it, right? Like the whole, all right, how much is this going to cost me? What's the bottom line? So, but if you just take the time to do something like that, like, you would probably save yourself the headache than having to go fund money for something else that you wanted, because you could have made like a quick 50 gold or 100 gold here and there, and like that 100 gold could just go a long way to something else that you want. So it wouldn't have been there if you didn't take advantage of this, all right? Like, it's just a free money for you.
Yeah, patch days are known as gold days for me. So
another thing to look out for specifically with the expansion is try and log onto each of your character if you have one of each class, so that you can look at what the traits are on the new spec. Even if you don't fully unlock it, it doesn't exactly matter, as long as you can preview the traits and what they do, because that's going to be important for you. If you look at that and already see whether a class is going into, let's say, like the Condi direction, or more like the power direction, or maybe it's going to be a great support specialization, just make use of that. Like, if you can already see where it's going, make use of it.
Yeah.
So to jump off what Sam just said too, though, it's like, this is actually why it pays to be knowledgeable and good at the game too, because if 100%. You are someone that does raids at a high level, or that does strikes at a high, well, not strikes, fractals at a high level, World of World at a high level, you do records or stuff like that, or you're involved in that kind of stuff, and you understand the gear and the types of things that those players are looking for. This is actually even more important for World vs. World. The World vs. World meta actually drives prices way more than the raid and fractal meta. So, because World vs. World, you usually have like 50-man Zergs running around. It's a lot more than a 10-man like raid group, right? So, but also in World vs. World, if like here's the big difference with raids and World vs. World. With raids, you can get by perfectly fine in exotics, like to do raids. If you're in World vs. World and you have exotic armor compared to ascended armor, you're squishier than your opponent. You're going to die faster. So World vs. World, they actually do really push like people to get optimal gear set for whatever comp they're running, to get like good runes, good sigils for whatever they're doing. There's a lot more variety of things that are run in World vs. World. So you actually look at the World vs. World runes and sigils, those prices actually push a lot faster and further than raid stuff. And then for the raids type of things, if you understand the raid meta and you see a new sigil comes out, that might be really good for a specific type of raids, or that class, like the Torment change. Okay, guess why Sigils of Torment went up in price so much? Everybody saw that, and it's just like, hey, a lot of raid bosses don't move that often. So Torment's going to be huge in raids now. So, oh crap, Sigils of Demons plus 20% duration torment. Oh, let's go buy those up. So if you understand the metas for the various different game modes, PvP does, because it's an unlock system, so it doesn't really affect it that much. But for War vs. World and PvE, if you understand the metas, and you understand what good groups are going to be looking for, and you see the patch notes come out, then you'll be able to jump on those items beforehand. It's like, I'm going to buy those really quick. And you'll be able to, it's a little bit of speculation because, hey, you never know, there might be a different build that doesn't use torment sigils, for instance, right? But if you understand that kind of stuff, you're good at the game, then you'll make more gold too, because you'll be able to understand what drives the market. If you're just following overflow and you're like, oh, somebody told me to go buy this stuff, but I have no idea why anybody would want these things, you're completely dependent on somebody else telling you what to buy. And if somebody's telling you to do that, generally they probably already bought it out.
Yeah.
They already did.
I never understand the narrative of someone saying like, someone told me this, without actually confirming the fact yourself. Why is there a reason why this person wants me to purchase this, or at least doing a little research? Is it feasible if I buy it at this price? And then, so yeah, I mean, the overflow and Tarkarans and any trading forum, anything that anyone says, take it with a grain of salt, because unless it's like something that's like a fact, right? Like, for example, Symbols of Control, even though people might think it's driving a narrative, and as I say that, like, Enko's trying to hypnotize you, but like, that's a fact. Symbols of Control really has a very small supply that can funnel into the economy. So that's not someone trying to tell you go buy Control. That's someone telling you like, this is an actual problem, right? But when someone tells you, oh, go buy MCs right now, they're going up to 5 gold, 6 gold, I don't know, to the moon, right? Like, to MCs, first of all, if you put one and one together, like, there's a couple people boosting up that wall, right? So you already know it's a fake artificial wall. All it takes is for those people who have their orders on the MC market to one day just maybe not be lazy, and then they'll just delist the entire wall. And now you're stuck with a currency that you paid 2 gold, 50 silver, or 3 gold, when the currency is actually valued at 1 gold. So you've just lost 2 gold of your income per coin, right? I'm assuming most of you people don't buy 1 coin. So that's the thing. And anything else that anyone says on any trading forum, yeah, like, do your research. Don't just take it as face value. Go
to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
To elaborate on that, and that's what I said in the last session I did with my patrons to prepare for the balance patches. Whenever you look at patch notes, and you see that something is changing, like let's say something is becoming good, or something is being heavily dunked on and nerfed, the first thing you should do is you head over to the wiki, because that's one resource that we, as the Gears 2 community, have over other game communities that is actually massive. Our wiki is super well maintained. There is very little to no bullshit on it, because people are very attentive to not letting just anyone change stuff on the pages, and you will find a lot of information of it. So for example, right as we saw that Torment was getting changed and made better, and also for the fact that bosses are mostly stationary, if you headed over to the wiki and just typed Torment to get to the condition page, there is a section which is traits, skills, and gear. So you can see which class benefits from it, and what gear actually gives you interesting stuff regarding Torment. So if you see that one of the current top Condi classes has access to Torment, then you know it's going to be good. Because let's say if I don't know, like Warrior gets access to Torment, Power Warrior is so big that maybe Condi Warrior wouldn't compete with it. So you just look at the top classes, and then you see in the gear that some runes and sigils give you extra Torment. You check gears2bltc.com, and if it's currently below the crafting price, then you know that it is a safe thing to try and drive up price-wise. Because if people want to beat you at it by crafting it, they won't be able to make profit off of it, so they obviously won't sell. So you have like a safe margin to buy into. And then the second thing you check is, how else do I get it? Can I get it from another source than crafting? And then you see that it actually is contained in some gear. If you have an extractor or a lot of Black Lion salvage kits, you can buy up that gear as well. There are so many ways for you to make profit just by actually looking at what is changing, instead of believing the words of a random person on the internet, even someone that you identify as being knowledgeable because they've been there for a long time. Everybody wants to profit off of each other. So don't believe them. Do your research, read up on the wiki, and eventually you're going to do great.
Someone asked the question, anyways, can you talk about the gift of mastery and how to prepare the product for the buyer and what would be the ideal price? All right, I'll give a quick summary of this. So, first of all, before I start, gift of mastery, if you are a buyer, right, like you are someone who buys gift of masteries, I would probably say put your money in something else, because unless you can afford to pay and make 40-50 weapons on a monthly basis, this is not the market for you. So for those that don't have the money to make 30-40 weapons a month, this is not the market for you. But how do you actually generally, like, if you maybe just need it because you want a weapon, or you need the weapon for something specific, sure. Maybe you're trading the weapon for something else, and that's why you specifically want the gift of mastery to purchase. So what you do, the seller of the gift of mastery, they go put together the gift of mastery, right? The gift of exploration, gift of battle, the bloodstone shard, which costs 200 spirit shards, and you also need 250 obsidian shards, right? After that, once the person has the gift of mastery actually pinged and there in chat, you can also request an API to make sure they actually have the item and they're not just pinging a code. Once that's done, you will send them the materials to make the weapon. That's T6 sets, gift of might, gift of magic, the gift of weapon. This could be like the metals, could be the wood, could be whatever is specific to the weapon, could be the dust. Then you send them the legendary, the precursor for the legendary, and then you also send them 100 gold for the icy rune stones. And then you have to also make sure you also like stay out in the start of the trade whether or not they're going to be providing their own mystic clovers, because you pay a different price if they already have the clovers for you versus if you're going to give them the mystic coins for them to generate the clovers, right? Typically it's about 400 gold, and I guess right now is what a lot of people are buying them for, 400 gold, 500 gold, depending on who you're talking to. If you have the clovers ready, then the price of your gift of mastery could probably go up to like I think anywhere from 800 to 900 gold. There's a calculator for this, so yeah, something like that, 800 to 900. Once you craft the weapon, make sure you have the dungeon gift tokens ready. Make sure you actually have the right crafting professions to craft the specific weapon items. And then once you put all of that in the Mystic Forge, you send the buyer back their weapon, and then they pay you the gold, or it could be something else that you negotiate. Maybe it doesn't have to specifically be in gold. But yeah, like Enko says, if you can have collateral put up, use a middleman to take the collateral or something. And likely, if someone's trying to sell you a gift of mastery and they have less than 1,000 AEP, that's a suspicious person. I would just say put a hard cap on the AP. Like, the hard cap should be minimum 4,000 or 5,000 AP. If someone has 4,000, 5,000 achievement points, chances are they've actually, that is their main account. They might actually be playing on that account, and more likely to be less of a scam. And if you are in the same trading platform, Overflow Discord or Guild Wars 2 Exchange, go and check the posts that that person has done on that forum. Do they have a lot of trades? Do they have a lot of chatter? Do they actually talk on that Discord? Did they just appear 2 days ago? Make sure you actually can figure out the history of this person in terms of trading. Because if it's someone who has 1,000 AP points and then literally is asking to sell a gift of mastery, and there's like no other server that you share with, you could actually check what servers you share with people. And if it's usually like you only share that one specific server, I usually consider that a suspicious person, because like if you are in a lot of Discord servers for Guild Wars 2, chances are whoever that you talk to at least has 1 or 2 other servers that they share with you. So try and set some limits on how you can kind of, you know, vet through legitimate buyers. But yeah.
So talking about AP as a marker for a trusted person, just think about it. If you're selling a gift of mastery, what do you have to do to get a gift of mastery? You have to do map completion. You have to do Wordless World, right? You also have to do like have a bunch of materials. Just think about how much AP you get from doing a map completion. If somebody's trying to sell you a gift of mastery and they have like 200 AP, they haven't actually done an exploration, a map completion on their account, because you get more AP than that by just doing a map completion. So that's a big red flag right there. So like same thing with World vs. World. Granted, Gift of Battle, you can just sit in there with like leeching participation. But if you try to sell a Gift of Mastery, which means you're selling a Gift of Expiration, and you don't have the AP to have completed everything, because like if you go in game and you check like how much AP do you get from completing each like full map, completing each map, like getting all the POIs and everything like that, and you have less AP on that, the guy's obviously a scammer.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how people fall for that. I really don't, because it's
people,
like
they want to make
easy
a
things
trade.
to check.
They've been told that doing this will make you rich, so they're desperate to do it, and they don't double check. Like I'm just gonna check my own alt account, on which the only thing I do is trading. I did a bit of PvP. I did a very small bit of dungeons and raids. I have over 5,000 AP. So without doing world exploration, without doing world versus world, I'm over 5k. So definitely you can use that as a base limit, like a base amount that you want to look for.
Like my alt accounts that I haven't done all the raids on, and like they're like 6 years old, but none of them have completions. They have crafting up, and they have like level 80s. Those characters have those accounts have like 3,000 AP.
So someone's saying, how is it like not exploiting someone if they're selling the Gift of Mastery? Well, some people might not need the Gift of Mastery right now, right? Like, so it's not really exploiting if the person understands what they're selling for, right? Like, if they know that this is an item that you use to make a weapon for, but they might not have the funds to do their own weapon right now. So then they maybe just sell it immediately to someone, and then they use that gold to do something else, right? Or maybe that gold is what gets them to make the other Gift of Mastery, because you get 2 Gifts of Exploration upon completing world completion. So maybe they sell one and then use the gold to make the other one for themselves. So not really exploiting, as long as the person understands clearly what they're selling to you. And there's, I mean, again, the whole thing of Gift of Mastery is there's more risk on the buyer. There's really no risk on the seller. The only risk is when you actually hand over the weapon back. Are they going to pay you for the service or not? But the chances are a buyer could literally get scammed by the seller. And this is why people are usually told, make sure whoever's selling you the Gift of Mastery actually has sufficient achievement points to justify that they are an actual account and not a alt of somebody trying to make a quick buck. So
so the question with Gift of Mastery is like, how is it not exploiting the player? Well, it depends on who you're asking, who's getting exploited here. So what are you actually selling when you're selling a Gift of Mastery? You're not selling a Gift of Mastery, you're selling the time it took to make that Gift of Mastery. So if you do world completions at a record pace, like what Sim Souls does, right? Like 10.5 hours for a world completion now. That's basically, let's say 5.5 hours per Gift of Exploration. Okay, if you have all the boosters and you have T6 participation in World vs. World, it takes like 3.5 hours to get a Gift of Battle. So you're talking 9 hours right there that you're then turning around and selling for 500 gold. Like the other materials, that's just gold. Like it you may just have that, it doesn't require time. You're actually selling the time it took you to make the Gift of Exploration and to make the Gift of Battle. You're selling your time to somebody else. Time is the valuable resource you're selling here.
That's the valuable resource for just about everyone. I mean, like flippers on the trading post also do the same. Some people want to have the item instantly, so they will buy it at the sell listing. Some people can take more time. Some people just want to sell it instantly. So like the flipper facilitates both. Like at the end of the day, time is the currency for everyone.
Yeah.
Because this is an MMO, and we play it in our free time. Some people just have more free time than others. That's what you sell.
And someone's asking, how do you get middle men? Well, you always want to check. So for example, on Guild Wars 2 Reddit exchange, that subreddit literally has all the middlemen listed there with their account IDs. So if someone messages you saying that they are Sam from the Guild Wars 2 exchange, and you're not sure what Sam's account ID is, first of all, a middleman will never message you personally because you have to approach the middleman. All right. So
exactly,
a middleman is only going to respond. They're not actually going to tell you, hey, I'm a middleman, like send me the weapon, like I got you, like you can just go and confirm. It takes 1 second, right? Just go on the tab, click Guild Wars 2 exchange, the middleman. Oh, this person's account ID is not the same as the person who messaged me in game. That's a little suspicious. Oh, this person also doesn't have that many achievement points. It must not be Sam. So like same with Overflow Discord, like we actually have the middlemen listed on the rank
well,
rules, and their names are listed in the trade rules. So like, if you don't
You
take
can't
that,
miss it.
if you don't take that 2 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever time it takes you to even just put up a quick browser or open up your Discord app just to check if this person is legitimately a middleman, then I'm sorry, you kind
You
of
deserve to be
it.
scammed.
Yeah, you deserve
you deserve
it.
to be scammed if you don't do that.
So,
All right, so we've been getting off into like money or specific like gold making stuff from questions in chat.
Yeah.
Do we want to go back to End of
Armory.
Dragons or talk about
Before
Armory?
before that, there was just one question I'd like to answer because it was asked a little bit earlier and we kind of skipped it.
Sure.
It was Diane asking, what do we think about insider trading? And I think that actually plays nicely into our discussion about, End of Dragons, releases, patches, like you said. Enko always look at the patch notes, take action quick as the patch releases. And that's what insider trading completely skips, because the content of the patch notes before they're there. So, what's your guys' stances on that? And do you think that, just like for Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, we will have enough leaks done by people beforehand that we can surmise there is insider trading and some people getting humongous, like, dumb rich with the patch? I mean, the release of the X-Pack. What's your stance on that?
yeah.
So, Evan, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first. I'll say after.
Okay, so ANET's taken some steps to try to avoid the insider trading thing, like on the test servers that people will, when the testing crew thing was, I don't know if that's even still a thing anymore, but it's like they had placeholder items in for some of the vendors. This happened during what's the map with the winter berries?
That was Living Story Season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah,
That wasn't
I can't. Bitter Frost, yeah. So there was. This was when the seaweed salad meta was still a thing, and then we had a vendor that you could turn in stuff to get a seaweed salad thing that was cheaper, and like they disabled it and they changed it because somebody who had access like bought up a bunch of stuff and was trying to make gold off it. What they started doing after that was like the stuff on the test servers, they were starting to use different items and then that weren't going to be the same as when it hit live. So they changed that a little bit. So they've been trying to control that. We haven't really seen any huge things on like what I would say is probably insider trading. I would say we've been seeing more evidence of like speculation, really. Like people are like taking wild guesses and sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But some of the stuff that was also that's kind of heading off insider trading stuff is like look at the balance patch notes for May 11th. They gave it to us 2 weeks early. So everybody got the information and now everybody went and bought torment sigils. Like a lot of this comes down to communication. If ANET's open about like, hey, this is the stuff we're trying to do, it kind of gets rid of the insider trading thing because people who have access to test servers will also like they'll have the information at the same time as other people do. But again, it's just like ANET also has the ability to change that stuff when it's live. So insider trading, I don't think is that big of a deal anymore. Right now, I think we're more dealing with market manipulation, like when it comes to like Mystic coins. But yeah, insider trading, I don't think is a huge issue because if someone's really, really obvious as like, oh yeah, I had access to the test server, and before End of Dragons came out, yeah, it's like before EOD comes out, like, oh, I already know that Orichalcum is going to be used for every single thing. I'm going to buy it all up before End of Dragons comes out. It's like your chances are you're going to get kicked out of the test program because it's as bad as
you get kicked out of it for less than this. So
yeah.
Well, the thing is, like,
as bad as
obvious.
ANET community manager is, they'll notice that. That's pretty noticeable. It's like, oh, somebody's buying up 2 million Orichalcum for some reason. It's like there's no other indication except
kind of sus,
It's got to be someone from the test server. It's like we haven't really been
or
seeing
someone who
like
knows someone who knows someone, because a lot of the times it's just like it's like you as the person testing, you give the information to someone who's going to give it to another person they know, and then that person with a lot of gold buys up, and you split the profits.
That's the thing.
No.
It's, like, yeah, in the
that
sense,
I know that's happened before. That kind of stuff has happened before too.
Yeah,
it has happened before. Yeah. The most blatant case of insider trading I saw like physically happen was with the release of Heart of Chains Wing 5. you also had a change to how infusions could be acquired in the Fractals of the Mist. Like you could get start infusions by exchanging stabilizing matrices for them. And the stabilizing matrices skyrocketed naturally as this happened. Some people had leaked that information beforehand from having known about it from testing / press review or whatever it was. But that instance was known, and punishment was swiftly done / dealt afterwards, so it was okay.
I think it's more like less insider trading, more of I want to say, like, at this point when people talk about like, well, what secrets that like don't leave like certain circles of traders, there's really nothing. That the network is so huge right now, especially with the overflow, especially with like even the small like there is like, let's just say there is the general population of traders, which is the overflow and the Guild Wars 2 exchange. That's the first outer circle. Then the inner circle is the cliques in these communities, right? Each one that does their own things. There's these cliques of communities and traders community that each have secrets of their own. Maybe some may or may not know of each other's secrets, or they might be doing the same thing, they just don't know about it. But then you also have like another circle inside of that, which is a very small amount of traders. And I can guarantee you, even in that community, there's even a much smaller clique. And the thing is, the information at this point, even those small circles of people, like when you get to the core traders, the traders were like, let's just say the Dragon's Den, right? Because the Dragon's Den is pretty much a trader forum only for specific traders, invite only. But then there's also, in that, there's a secret spot for some people as well. So the
away all the secrets, stop.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, people know this already, like that there is secret circles like this. But even then, the access to information is just too much at this point. There's nothing that you wouldn't know at least 90% of. The 10% is really, it used to be like people didn't know 80%, and 20% is really what was public knowledge, right? And now it's to the point where every single item, anything that comes out, people already know what to do. Because, and you could say this is good, because there's more traders that are invested in the economy. There's more people who take an interest now in this part of the game. So the days of that type of stuff, of like secrets being shared and nobody knowing about it for like 8-9 months, that's really long gone. Chances are, if something comes out and is manipulated, a month later, I'm sure the other groups of people will figure it out, and then 2 months later, it makes its way to the public. I mean, by that time, it's too late, but the access of information is much faster. So,
I mean, for the first 6 years of the game, I didn't share any information from any of my spreadsheets to anybody. I shared it one time. I shared the format to one time on a Google Sheet to somebody, and I did not know you could do this on Google Sheets, where you could undo actions on other people's spreadsheets, and he stole my results.
Oh my god! You gave edit access. Never do that.
No, I just
didn't do that. Oh my god!
He undid the removal of the data and like got all of it. I got really pissed.
You know what your mistake was? Your mistake was you used Google Sheets.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that was early on. That was on my.
Like Google Sheet is very evil. I mean, it's very evil because the way Google Sheet is made actually can remove part of the protections you would put on an Excel sheet. So let's say if you hide the sheet on Excel and then you like open that Excel sheet in Google Sheets, it's going to show the hidden like tabs. Same if you try and let's say like protect it with a password, it just removes the password. It's you can break so much stuff from seemingly protected Excel files, just trying to open them in Google Sheets.
So Darren's saying, what percentage of a Guild Wars 2 player base you think knows how to trade and profit? Maybe 10% of the game.
The same number that we have of raiders, like high-end raiders in the community, so 0.1%.
It's a very small. I mean, if you look at it in terms of, let's just say, discords, right? The overflow has about 12,200. The Guild Wars 2 exchange has about 8,000. Let's just say 15,000 players are interested in trading, right? That's 15,000 players out of what, like 300,000 players? 400,000
Actually,
players?
more like 500k. Like the latest figures show 500k.
500k. Well, there you have it. So like
frame.
that's a very small percentage when you have 15,000, right? By 500k. That's yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, like but the thing that's important, MM, about this, it's not about how many people are interested about the economy, relative to the size of the player base. It's how many people are currently taking part in off-trading post trades or like, more economy-related topics compared to earlier. If you look at maybe when Heart of Thorns was teased, the number of people who were caring about the economy was extremely small. Like Exchange was just budding. The Guild Wars 2 economy, Reddit was extremely small. It was just like a few groups of people because we didn't even have Discords yet when Heart of Thorns released. Like Discord was coming out. It was 2015. Heart of Thorns released in 2015 late, but Discords were just a bit earlier. Like when you look at all of this, I would say that the population that is going to be trading has grown exponentially. Like it's so many more people compared to Heart of Thorn population and Path of Fire population of traders only. We have maybe like 10 times more people, and that actually makes a difference.
Yeah. So we have more player participation. So the question from Diane was, what's the percentage of GW2 player base you think know how to trade and profit? So qualifiers on that. What do you mean by trade and profit? Like, is it just like, oh, I was able to buy 2 Mystic coins from somebody and I sold it for more than I paid for it? It's like, or are we actually talking about people that are doing a decent amount each day, week, month? Like the people that make more, that are like high end, like if I look at my efficiency account value over the past year, we're in May now, right?
I would trade and profit making regular gains of gold while trading. So let's just say an active trader. Because if you talk about specific people that can generate thousands of gold of profit a day, that's probably like less than 15 people. So it's not that much. If we're going to talk about though, outside...
Just like market participation? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot now.
No, I say making regular gains of gold while trading. So regular traders, active traders, someone who's an active trader, that's probably a lot. Yeah, it's probably like, it's still not a huge amount though in the grand scheme of things. Like there's still a small percentage of players who do this on a regular basis. So it's, even if you do 15, 20,000 players, like 20,000 players out of 500,000, like Sam says, that's barely 10% of the player base. So that's 5%.
So there is more attention being like, I see on a regular basis a map chat when people's like, oh, should I sell this item or not? And I regularly see all the time people go, it's like, oh, you should go to the Overflow Discord or you should go to GW2 Exchange because you can get more for it. I'm seeing that all happen a lot more nowadays than it used to. So it's people are definitely knowing that, hey, they're knowing what they could do to get more. How many people do we have on the Overflow Discord now? How many actual
12,000. We just did 12,200, so it's probably 12,300 members.
Yeah, I don't know what the metrics are on Exchange. Like Dan used to like tell us, oh yeah, we got this much activity this week. He doesn't really do that anymore.
In terms of, I could give you some soft metrics. In terms of active posts, we get about an average of 130 to 140 general trade posts a day. But this is like from this is from like 4 months ago, so it could be more, could be less by now. So, but yeah, to get that many anyway is already pretty big. So 130, 140 posts a day is better than when I remember like days of when the Overflow didn't even exist, because the Overflow is actually younger than the Exchange. But the Exchange itself, like I remember days where like you put a post and there was no reason to bump, because your post would probably stay in the first page within 4 or 5 days. It only gets bumped on the 6th or 7th day. And I remember those days were beautiful, because like you wouldn't have to worry about posting every single week. You just put something up, it will be there for like a week or two, and you make the second post again. So, but we're in that phase where like, yeah, Enko's right. There's more people who now know that there are trading communities, but to make that grow and to make sure that keeps going, then you just have to keep advertising, right? I know a lot of people say that like traders just want to, like, I don't know, make a move on the market and abandon everybody. Well, think of it like this. We made this discussion where if there's more active traders, there's more counterparties to trade with. If there's another 100,000 people all of a sudden who are into trading, that's 100,000 people I can profit with together. Like, you have a profit margin that you're trying to hit, I have a profit margin I'm trying to hit. So it's like the more and more people that come into the trading aspect, that's a positive. It's not like anyone's trying to do an agenda. It's simple, you know, it's just simple market direction. You need the market to grow. If the market stays as it is, stagnant, the supply of whatever is in that market is going to run out. So,
well, this is also, if you look at the in IRL stock market, there are more people participating, which is partially why the stock market's been like kind of been taken off a bit. The more market participation, the more people you have trading, even small time traders, it'll contribute to the entire schema. So, yeah, the more people that get involved in trading off the TP. Now, there is one problem with, if, let's say, we get 100% of the players no longer trading on the trading post anymore. Gold inflation will be so bad because there's no more gold sink.
Because the biggest gold sink in the game is trading post taxes. At some point, Silverest, the guy who like does a lot of backend on the API that we all use, at some point he made a post on Guild Wars 2 Economy, just showing, I think it was around Path of Higher Release, showing how much gold was taken away from the trading post within the first week. Looking at transactions on the trading post, and it was numbering the tens of millions, I think. There was something like this. Sorry, that's the #1 gold sink in the game. So, like, you will need at some point to get back to the trading post, and that's basically the assumption that we have right now on the way player-to-player trading works. Because let's say I want to trade the legendary I've made. I can either take my legendary and sell it on the trading post for a certain amount of gold, and then I take the risk of being undercut. I take the risk of it not selling for a while. I would rather have like something that's going to sell faster, or something that I can trade for something else later. So I'm going to go to Overflow Exchange. I'm going to say, yo, I'll trade you my legendary for, let's say, like 1,000 Mystic Coin. And then you get the 1,000 Mystic Coin, and you're like, okay, now if I list these on the trading post, I'm sure they will sell faster, but I'm still going to eat the taxes. Or I could just keep them and exchange them against another thing that I would maybe need to use. So it's either you trade at some point for materials that you would consume, or you trade for an item that you will bind to your account, or at some point anyways, you will have to, you know, resell it on the game itself, and at some point eat the taxes. And that's the only assumption we have. If we were into an economy where 100% of your needs could be met via player-to-player trading, then gold inflation would happen and we would be fucked. For real. Sorry, I've heard. You can cut that later on if you want.
So someone's saying, just wondering what their opinion on mass buying something in order to short supply it. Well, in Guild Wars,
that's in regards to a discussion in chat for like compared to the stock market.
Okay.
So
I mean, like,
there's context to that question.
Oh, there's context. Oh, okay, like I guess the stock market. So no, I mean, the thing is with shorting, right? Because when you're shorting a stock, you're betting it's going to, I mean, you have to select how much you're going to short it by, right? So your purpose is that you're going to try and cash out before it drops. Otherwise, if you short and you're wrong, you're down a lot of money. Your stock is worthless at that point. In Guild Wars 2, there's very few maybe items. I guess you could make the argument some symbols are in the sense you could short symbols. You buy them today, predict that they'll go up there, you sell them quickly, but then they drop down in price. But that thing is, that's limited by supply. That's actually limited by supply. So in the stock market, the stock is not in the sense limited. Like, it's just how much you can buy out of a stock, unless you, and it depends on how much the company actually floated of that stock, right? So there is a very specific amount of it. Stop with the control thing, right? I'm like getting hypnotized. Every
It
time
got
I
mentioned in chat.
control symbols. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think there's very few things that you could actually short in Guild Wars 2. And again, it all depends on patch notes and things like that. And so your time frame for shorting something in Guild Wars 2 probably will take longer, right? Unless you somehow are lucky enough to short it in a time where something changes in the game that affects that direct item you're trying to short. Anyway.
Yeah, so Flame Legion runes, that was something being pushed. The person who was pushing that, not Teapot, not Mela, the other person involved with that guy's been pushing Flame Legion runes for like 6 years.
I honestly believe.
I'm sorry,
I
I have
honestly
the
believe.
same reaction towards him.
I'm sure like people like know who it is, but like I honestly believe this person's invested like hundreds of thousands into these runes and now just needs to sell them because there's desperation.
No, like the thing about that person is he has always had some rather good takes on like PvE balance, and he also has quite a bit of knowledge on what would be good in PvE or not, based on his rather extensive experience as a hardcore dungeoneer, then fractal player, then raider. However, the thing is, at some point he made a change in his appreciation of PvE and moved from being hardcore min-maxer to being like, okay, this is how you can play if you want to be efficient in any type of situation, including a rather bad pog run where you want to have all your boons, where you want to have your scholar buff, etc. And for these type of specific cases where people are just going to be bad, yes, Flame Legion runes can be good. And so he started feeding into that narrative and telling everyone this was the Army narrative and that this was good and everything. And now he can't escape that anymore.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like an inside meme with them. So, I mean, if you're talking about Flame Legion runes, if you look at the stats themselves, they're actually okay. So if you compare to Scholars, right? Scholars 5% damage boost over 90% HP. Well, if you're not in a group that has like a decent healer or like you can't dodge attacks, you might not be getting that Scholar bonus a lot. While the Flame Legion runes, you get a 7% damage against burning foes, which is fairly easy to maintain if there's a druid with a Sun Spirit under, or any kind of Connie classes, because burning, just one stack of burning will trigger this damage buff. So if you're with a not too great of a group, Flame Legion runes actually aren't that bad. But Flame Legion runes also drop from everything. There are so many.
A lot of gear have them slotted, including, if I'm not mistaken, it's like one of these named exotic armor pieces, like the Nikas coat, shit like this. You know, Talcoro's leggings, whatever. Like there are some of these exotic sets that have been there since the start of the game. Yeah, Vatla. There we go. Like they just have the Flame Legion runes slotted, and they are in every exotic gear pool. All of them have it. Be it unidentified gear, raid drops, PvP drops, fractal drops, dungeon drops, open world mob drops, all of them can drop these. So there is no reason why they would go to the moon, and that's once again something that I've been advocating, and I know that you two have also been advocating, is pay attention to where it comes from. Like, for real, if you buy into something and you can literally pick it off the ground, you're going to be sorry for your losses. Then it's like you can't come and QQ to anybody.
Yeah.
So
I think I kind of want to push us into because we're kind of now starting to get into the Armory discussion, kind of with the symbols. I feel like it's overdue. Like we get into the Armory discussion now, because that in itself is going to drive a lot of these questions. So just to make it official, that we're now talking about the Armory, and how a lot of this stuff will affect everything when the Armory comes out. Now here's the thing, we mentioned earlier that the tweet ain't up put out, which also confirms in the forums that there won't be any sort of monetization from the Armory. Like people said, like when they put out the tweet, like, oh, does that mean like it's free but like you have to pay for extra slots? And I think someone else in the forum section of Guild Wars 2 and ain't it, they've actually confirmed, no, it's free in every sense. Like you're not actually going to be charged for anything of it. It's a free feature in the game.
I actually missed that because I only saw the tweet. So
I saw someone post it in.
maybe,
If someone can link it, because I saw it on a post.
yeah,
So
if someone could post it, that would be good.
somewhere in the it was an answered question. Someone tweeted it as well. I saw it through Twitter because I forgot who tweeted it, but like it looked pretty insane for them to give that. So
yeah, there were 2 posts, and I'm glad we switched back. I wanted to use Nisha Hekat's post to kind of segue back into the Armory thing, but so the post that they said, the first one is they said like, oh, we're seeing a lot of questions about Armory and monetization. They're like, it's going to be free. There's not going to be any gem cost or anything to it. And then everybody else said it's like, oh, quote unquote free. It's like, oh, you're going to still you're going to give us a taste of it, kind of like what they do with templates, where it's like, oh yeah, everybody gets templates, but you only get 2 slots. So some people were like, oh, it's going to be like that for Armory. ANET repeated back or they responded back. They're like, no quotes about it. It's going to be free. I'll believe it when it launches in the game like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm taking this with a grain of salt. Like I don't want to bash on ANET, but Mountgate templates, like it's never 2 without 3, lads.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like a lot of people were saying, oh, this puts legendary Gen 1s out of business and things like that. And well, here's the thing, right? There'll be more players coming into the game if End of Dragons is as big as it is going to be, right? Because right now, it's safe to say End of Dragon is the most hyped expansion, right? It probably is even more hyped than Heart of Thorns first came out, right? Because Heart of Thorns was the first X-Pack, there was a lot of hype to it. End of Dragons is not just hitting the fact that this is a long-awaited expansion, it's also the long-awaited change in the scenery, the change of map. We're literally going in a 180 direction to go to a different map entirely. And whether or not that expansion, if that expansion is successful, that brings in a new influx of players. That the amount of players that can come in from BDO, from Final Fantasy, from World of Warcraft, which every time I hear this argument where someone comes from WoW, it's weird because people talk about how WoW does things better than Guild Wars 2, but every time someone comes over from World of Warcraft, they always talk about how like Guild Wars 2 is a much more refreshing game.
Because we have a lot of quality of life.
I just feel like it's ironic, like in the sense that like this community kind of like thinks the other game's better, but then WoW players come in and they like, this is actually a much better game. But yeah, Gen 1s, believe it or not, they will go down, they'll tank, but that's not something that happens in like one night. That's gonna take months and months. Like you understand how long it takes for a market such as Legendaries to officially be considered a dead market, right? It takes a while. And here's the thing, if Gen 3s is not account bound, then yeah, that's what the next hype will be. That's where people will move in. Now, if Gen 3s are not account bound, that actually could breathe life into Gen 1s, right? And so this
Armory...
Yeah, go ahead.
It'll be a really big question if they follow the Gen 1 model or the Gen 2 model. Or a mixture. Like, I could actually see them mixing it. Like, precursors are tradable, but the legendaries themselves are not. Like, I could see them doing a mix, but it'll be a question which model they follow.
If they don't monetize the Armory, it will be an arrow to the knee for them. One, they shoot themselves. I
wanted to answer that, actually.
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, and it goes into what you were saying earlier, MM, about players coming from other games, you know, like trying out Guild Wars 2, etc. That's actually a thing. Guild Wars 2 has a lot of quality of life, and at some point there are some features you want to monetize and some features you don't want to monetize. Like, for instance, our wardrobe system is great. You unlock a skin once, then it's available across your account, and you just need to use a transmutation charge to use it. Whereas in some other games, you need to actually have it in your inventory, and then use a transmutation that's gonna delete the first item, take the appearance only, put it on second item. And it's this kind of quality of life that is not monetized that makes the game appealing to other people. And Legendary Armory can work the same way. Just like legendaries can swap stats, always have the highest level of gearing. You know, it's just stuff that you can use as an argument to get more player population and try and have them be captive of your in-game. So it not being monetized is not necessarily shooting themselves an arrow in the knee. It can also be a marketing argument to try and get more people interested in the game. That's at least my opinion on the matter. So go on, MM, with what you wanted to say, maybe.
No, actually you hit it right on the nail. No, it's just like when you compare a lot of these quality of life features, I think people take it for granted. Like you said, I can't count the amount of times I was pissed off because I had an item on a character, I had to go get the same item on another character, right? Same armor or something. Just because it's the skin, it's not even the stats, it's just the skin. And even the stats itself, like, is there another game that has an armory system that is interchangeable between characters? Or is it, ain't it the first one?
I don't think so.
So, you know, this is like a game, this is an MMO game-changing feature. So, while, yeah, it's like they're, you know, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even care if they monetized it. I was actually one of the people who was saying monetize it, because there's very few things this game makes you pay for. So the fact that like they're monetizing Armory is not a big deal, right? Because again, like they need to make money. They don't pay you to play this game. A lot of other games you have to pay just to play. So I don't see the deal with it. And in fact, a lot of people have mentioned countless times they would rather have some sort of battle, and we've even said this in the previous podcast, there's a battle pass or something extra that if you're paying on a monthly basis gets you maybe a couple more boosts or things like that, but doesn't maybe make your gameplay more superior than other people. Just maybe a bit more convenient, right? Enko, actually, you touched on this last podcast.
I wouldn't be surprised if that they're going to make Armory, if once again, if it's completely, the Armory system itself is completely free. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do that because they're expecting that, oh, there'll be an increased demand for equipment slots then. So maybe it's because right now you make a character, you get 2 free equipment slots.
3 equipment slots and 2
is it
build
3?
slots.
Yeah, I thought it was 3.
Maybe
Someone kept telling me 2.
Maybe it's 2 equipment, 3 build.
Yeah,
it's 2 equipment, 3 build.
But you have a limited amount. You don't have the max amount when you make it on every character. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do it where it's like, oh, well, if you want more convenience by having more slots, you have to pay for more slots. Because like the equipment slots and build slots, they are grossly overpriced. Like, if you're ever buying those, definitely wait till they're on sale. But at the current price that they're selling them at, like the solutions I've mentioned before, it's like they should either double the price, maybe even make it like 1,000 gold a slot, but make it account wide, or they should take the current prices and divide by 4, and then make it like character bound. But I think that some of it is that the Armory system is the reason why they're not monetizing it is because they're expecting people to buy more character slots, or expecting people to buy more equipment slots, and also because, oh, now I can have a power build, a Condi build, a support build, and like 3 other variations. Maybe they'll buy more build template slots and more build storage slots to support the equipment slots. So it could just be that they're banking on more people buying slots, because honestly, like, how many people actually bought a lot of slots? Like, I have a lot of characters that I use a lot of different builds on. So, but I also don't spend money on the game anymore. I spend gold to gems. So, but how many people right now are like, oh, it's not really worth it to do that. I'll just keep switching stuff out of my inventory. Now with legendary gear, it could be it's like, especially since legendary gear, it's really annoying to swap it from inventory because it strips out all the upgrades. If you want to use a legendary armory, you need more slots. Like, you're gonna want more slots. So maybe they're just banking on people buying up more slots.
Even in the sense, it's not that bad of a deal, right? Like, and I think, yeah, this is kind of the whole thing, is that a lot of people don't want to pay or put in the credit card. Well, again, this goes back to, you know, if you kind of know how to manage your gold in the game, and at least not even in the sense of having spreadsheets. I mean, even if you just do the bare minimum of knowing how to just save up gold in your gameplay, you can literally get all of this without actually having to open up your credit card. You don't even have to get a wallet out, right? You could just pretty much convert gold to gems. Save up gold in your gameplay.
Oh crap, my speakers are still on.
Oh, I heard, I was like, wait, I heard myself, I was just like, wait, what, Mike?
Yeah, I heard that a second time. I was like, wow.
Mike?
It felt like, you know, when God speaks from the heaven, right? Like in movies, the slightly, you know, dampened voice. That was perfect.
Yeah, but yeah, your music is a little bit loud, actually.
I turned it down. Yeah. Let me turn it down a little bit more.
And you screwed up the Discord. Oh, there's the Discord stuff back. But yeah, I do think that a lot of it might just have been that they are planning on banking that people will buy more slots to use the Armory system more effectively if they have legendaries.
Yeah. Where is this thing? All right, there we go. So with the fact of, I mean, this also goes back to the control argument, which we've kind of been on and off on this podcast. Going to the symbols of controls, right? And here's the question. Do you see ANET trying to up the drop rate of controls, maybe incorporating, because you need those ultimately? No?
For them to do that, it wouldn't just be upping the drop rate on controls. So, I mean, what they could do to make it easier is increase the drop rate specifically on control sigils when you salvage them. But the way you're going to adjust the supply on those is by increasing the amount of items that have sigil or that have control sigils slotted in them, which means they'd have to change the loot tables for the entire game. Now, I guess with End of Dragons, they could add new items new items that like they add more control sigil items than they do the other ones. But I don't think that they'll be able to change how the supply works right now. So. Well, earlier on, like I said, I was going to do this, and I pulled up the stats. I compared all the existing control enhancement pain sigils available on the trading post that you could buy right now, not buy orders. And the supply differential is crazy. So this isn't the numbers I'm about to say are minors, majors, and superiors combined. So for control, you have 219,000 total sigils on the trading post available for purchase for controls. For enhancements, there's 753,000, and for pains, there's 548. So it's got such a small supply comparatively. Now, if we're talking just about superiors, which is what a lot of people are going to buy, you have 153,000 superior control sigils, 376,000 enhancements, and 272,000 pains. And I think for minors, it's even worse. Like you have 38,000 control minors. You have 256,000 enhancement miners and 197,000 pain miners. So it's not they can't just go, it's like, oh, we'll increase the number of control symbols because that affects the loot tables across the entire game. So they would have to adjust everything. And if they did that, they're going to break something. They're going to screw something up. So they could mess around with the salvage rates. So like, because right now, a superior sigil, no matter what it is, salvages at a 10% rate. So what if they control sigil specifically salvaged at 12% rate or 15% rate or something like that? They could do something like that. And that would be very annoying to do because they would actually have to change a specific salvage rate for a specific type of item. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think that the only way ANET will fix the control supply market or the control supply issue is adding new stuff with End of Dragons. I don't think they could do it with the existing systems. They'll break something. They'll break something else.
It's not the time to break stuff. Someone was saying this was on the overflow a couple days ago. They're like, well, what if pretty much Gen 3s don't require the existing mats, right? And well, we've seen with Gen 2s, they've experimented. They've gone different routes, right? With Gen 2s where you have to craft them. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gen 3s have an entirely different like material set that is specific from End of Dragons. But yeah, like to add into the control symbol supply itself, it's just, what can they actually add in? Because I mean, if they do it for controls, they still have to do it for the other symbols. Like it's just, can't just do one and not the other two.
I mean, that depends how it's done. So as Enko and I were explaining just there, like the two things you need to take into account if you want to change the way symbols or charms drop is either you have more individual sigils or runes that drop them, like you even that out across the board, or option 2, you boost the drop rate on specific gear that has these sigils or these runes. So right now, there is less sigils that give control than the rest, and less gear that gives sigil that give control than gear giving other sigils. So it's like a double loss, and you can fix it either two way. Either you make more sigils give control, or you make more pieces of gear give sigils that you control. And I think that solution would be better, because if you make more sigils give control, that means that you can use control to craft different sigils, and then that would create maybe some other demand, unless it's like some super shit sigils that make no sense. They could maybe decide that all slaying sigils now drop control, and you can see people just going to the dungeon vendor and like getting a shitload of them and salvaging, or maybe a different way. But there are ways you can induce a change, and these two ways are listed right there.
So something else they could do too. So going off a little bit of the numbers, what Sam was talking about. So for superior sigils only, there are 17. Well, these are craftable. I'm only talking craftables. There are 17 craftable control superiors. There are 23 enhancements, and there are 17 pains. Now, if you look at the drop rates on like where these things come from, also if you're not crafting them, what they could also do is reclassify some of the enhancement sigils as control or pain. But the reason why they're classified the way they are right now is because of like lore reasons. Like pain sigils are mainly the plus 7% damage modifiers to things, or things that deal like damage. Enhancements are usually things that give you some kind of buff, and controls are things that usually cause some kind of CCs. Though there are some kind of weird thing, like transference is plus 10% healing, outgoing healing. That's a control sigil. That really should be an enhancement sigil. Water is like healing on around your target when you attack it. That should also be like an enhancement. So they're how they classify these things isn't straight cut across the board. So what they could do is take some of the enhancement sigils and reclassify them as controls and pains, so that if they took 3 out of enhancement and added 2 to control and 1 to pain, that would balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually something Rodson was saying in chat. They can make a new recipe that lets you craft pain or enhancement into control, and the other way around. Zana was saying that that's kind of like a short-term fix, kind of like a band-aid solution. It could work. It could work because
just put it as a time-limited vendor in the game.
Because the thing is, the other two have a significantly higher drop rate than control, right? So they can make it in a way where, like, there has to be a proper ratio for this in terms of how much you can use to craft the control, and then how many controls are used to craft the other two. Obviously, the ratio of control to the other two is less.
Well, here's actually a really
the chat again.
You mean the short-term vendor being so easiest way
we
would be
talked
to
about
add
that last stream.
Yeah, easiest way would be to add a sigil to dungeon vendor. In my opinion, some people have crazy amounts of dungeon currency. That's actually would revive dungeons in a funny way.
A fair bit.
For a little bit until prices drop too much.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what would actually be the easiest solution that Enko could do? Let superior sigils and runes be forgeable. So you could re-roll them. So if we have the numbers I went off of before, where I said we had so many such and such type. Let me pull that up again. Where is it? If you can buy all of the superior enhancements that are really cheap, and you could throw them in the forge and re-roll them, and you might get controls and pains backed out, that could balance out a little bit. So like right now, for those of you guys who don't know, like if you put 4 minors into the forge, you get a minor back with a 20% chance to upgrade to a major. You could throw 4 majors into the forge, and you get a major back or a 20% chance to get a superior. You cannot put 4 superiors into the forge. It doesn't let you. Now, if you look at that with gear, you can put 4 masterwork weapons in the forge, and you have a 20% chance of upgrading to a rare. You can put rares in, you get a 20% chance to upgrade to an exotic. If you put 4 exotic weapons in, you re-roll for another exotic. Okay, so if they made the change that superior upgrades, sigils and runes can also be forged, that would actually fix a lot of the problem, because what would end up happening is that people would take all the cheap enhancement sigils and they would start forging them to re-roll it for more expensive sigils. That actually is probably on an implementation base, is probably the easiest thing for Enko to do, as well as probably the least disruptive to the economy. Like, you'll see a much more gradual change for that than adding new vendors, redoing the like reclassifying sigils, like that kind of thing, it would mean that no sigil would be worth vendor value because you could always just throw it in the forge and possibly roll a force sigil or something like that. I think that would probably be the easiest thing.
In a sense, that's another way of like a indirect gold sink, right? Because then that those don't end up on the trading post themselves. That would actually kind of push into the inflation solution. I mean, in sense
no,
of,
people would still trade them. People would still trade them because forging is very, very tedious.
It's tedious, but people still like to gamble.
But
you know,
most people, but who's going to get like ecto gambling?
Surprisingly,
sure, like to do
there's
that, but
a lot of people that
reward.
gamble. I mean, have you seen the people who gamble ectos? They're not even the richest players. They're literally just your average Guild Wars 2 player who just gambles and tries to get lucky.
But they're hoping for that 2K gold payout though. How many people are going? It's like go to a casino. How many people are gambling on the penny slots? It's like low entrance fee to go to, but the reward's also low. So forging, like how many people do you know forge major runes right now? Like not a lot of people do it. I know like 3 people that actually do that on a large
specifically basis. No, but then also forget like that is kind of very too like you get into something that's very detailed process of trying to do something, which yeah, again, unless someone's doing it for
okay. So also for superiors, if they enable something like that, I already know the profit rates for it because I already ran the simulations for it. So because I know what comes out of the forge. So if they did something like that, it wouldn't be that disruptive. Like the profits for it aren't huge. You're not talking about 50-60% profits. You're talking about maybe like 18% profit on it. So it's actually not that bad if they allow superiors to be thrown in the forge and reforged. It wouldn't be too disruptive to the market, but it would also get rid of this glut of enhancement sigils that we have on the market. Perplexing Torment can't be dropped from the forge. Not true. There is a way to get them from the forge. There's a reason why I have no control symbols left.
Anyway, so kind of to segue from the controls and more into kind of the let's just we kind of briefly touched upon like how legendaries in a sense would be affected. We've gone through controls, we've gone through the equipment slot solutions for legendary armory. Where do you see, let's say legendary armory is released July 13th, 6 months later, 7 months later, right? Because that's how long at minimum it will take to see a huge significant change in such markets. Where do you see Gen 1s? Where do you see Gen 2s? It's pretty obvious, like they're non-tradable, but Gen 2s would be specifically materials for Gen 2s, right? So you guys can go ahead first.
Mithril and Alderwood, go, buy now.
Like that's actually one thing that is rather interesting because we don't know yet how like Gen 3 legendaries are going to be made, but there are 2 ways it can go. Either it goes the same way as Gen 1s, then you just need to like make the Gifts of Might and Magic, get the Precursor, get the exploration of the new maps, because obviously Gen 2s were released across Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, so you could do either of these explorations, but the new ones would drop specifically in End of Dragons. So an exploration from these maps, and then like obviously some specific gifts that are going to cost a fair amount of money. Then probably spirit shards, etc. The classic. So either it goes this way, or it goes the Gen 2 legendary ways, and in which case we would need the Mystic Curios, the amalgamated gemstones, and that would actually put quite a bit of a drain on the economy, because not everybody wants to get Gen 2s. I mean, they're more tedious to get. They require you to play more. You can't just buy them, it is a pain, to be fair. I mean, you could, but differently. So at the end of the day, it really depends how Gen 3 legendaries will be made, like to see where the economy will go.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they could either go I would wish they would go the Mystic Curio route, because Mystic Curios requires a bunch of base materials to make a Mystic Curio, right?
Mystic Curios were good. They were inherently good.
I don't know why they just went the other route with it. Like, think of it like this, right? Mystic Curio as a currency is probably more stable than Mystic Coin. Simply because Mystic Curio as a component requires base materials that are abundant in supply. So it's a more stable currency to trade with. So I really wish that would be a currency they consider. They might not, because simply they'll come up with a different currency altogether for Gen 3, which I don't doubt it. And MCs probably will be ultimately the other base or main component of a currency that Gen 3s use. But if they were smart, I would go with Mystic Curios. Simply because it's easier to actually, in terms of a price, a stable price, it's more easily able to maintain its price. Like Ectos. Ectos is pretty much like that.
So you're talking about Mystic Coins and such like that. Do you know what actually takes more Mystic Coins, a Gen 1 or a Gen 2?
It's a Gen 2.
Yeah, the Gen 2, because you need 77 Mystic Clovers for both, but you also need a stack of Mystic Coins for the Mystic Tribute.
Yeah.
For a Gen 1 for the Gift of Fortune, you need a stack of Ectos. So now I actually think that there's a good reason why Armory is coming out before End of Dragons, because we all thought that Armory was going to be an End of Dragons. It was going to be an expansion feature. And they actually then announced, like, oh, it's coming out July 13th. And everybody's like, well, I'm like, oh, well, if Armory's coming out, like, let's go buy control symbols because it's going to go up, because people are going to want to use upgrades and people are going to want to use legendaries. So you're talking about Gen 1 versus Gen 2 system, right? So Gen 1, get to Expiration, get to Mastery, all that kind of stuff, buy the precursor, go get it, right? Gen 2's required a lot of Mithril, a lot of Elderwood. It came out one legendary at a time per episode, except for a couple times when they released two. We had a few that came out at the launch. So
yeah,
can you guys imagine if they followed the Gen 2 model, where it was Mithril and Elderwood? You had to make the shards. And keep in mind, when every new living story that came out, Mithril and Elderwood would shoot up by like 50 copper to a silver when one came out. And when the patch that they released two at the same time, Mithril ore went up to 3 silver. Not ingots, ore went up to 3 silver. And Elderwood went up to like 5 silver, because everybody was trying to make both at the same time. The people that did not prep in advance, we knew when they were coming. If they did not prep in advance, they're all buying it like day one. Now imagine End of Dragons comes out, they follow the Gen 2 model, they release 16 new legendaries that all require 4,000 Mithril and 8,000 Elderwood, and the only time thing that was stopping it was doing 16 map completions. Like, can you imagine what Mithril and Elderwood would go to if they did that? It would be crazy. So, and also because now the reason why I'm saying that, it's a reason why we're getting Armory 6 months, 7 months prior to End of Dragons. If they released Armory with End of Dragons, also with the new Gen 3 set, everybody would just go, oh, I'll just go get the new Gen 3 legendaries if I don't have any right now, right? Oh, screw getting the Gen 1s, Gen 2s, I want the new skins. Okay, so if they have Armory come out now, like in July, the only legendaries you could get are Gen 1s and Gen 2s, right? And then End of Dragons will come out, and then, oh, now I'm going to get the Gen 3s. So right now it's causing people to get Gen 1s and Gen 2s, and then now Gen 3s comes out and End of Dragons, oh, now the new shiny thing, we'll get those two as well, instead of just like, I'm only going to get the Gen 3s.
It kind of drives at least in a way, it gives a bit of activity to those two generations at least.
Yeah, if you don't have the Gen 1s, Gen 2s, you have a goal to work for. Like, hey, I have Armory now. I want to get the Armory stocked up before End of Dragons comes out, and then you have Gen 3s to work on. As far as what I think the prices are going to happen to it, I think on the July 13th, people who don't pay attention to the previews and stuff like that, they're just like, they're going to show up in game on July 13th, like, oh, there's a new patch I didn't know was coming today. Wait, what's this mail I'm getting in game at Armory? I can use my legendaries across all my characters now? And they're like, hey, I've got 2,500 gold in my wallet right now. Oh, hey, look, Twilight's 2,400 gold. Buy.
Yep.
I think you're going to see that scenario repeated by a lot of people. So I do think Gen 1s,
not just
Gen
that.
1s are going to go up.
I think also you got the people who naturally would not mind putting in $80 to $100 to buy a legendary.
Yeah, I was thinking more of that end. People credit card warrioring, sure, but like most people who have, let's say, 2.5k gold to their name are gonna be conscious about it. They won't like blow it all in one go. I think they would just be like, oh, I'll save myself the precursor right now. You know, more like this, like not instantly the entire legendary, but more like, oh, I'll miss this component and I'll grab just that one.
They'll just buy the legendary. If they're doing gems to gold, they'll just buy the legendary. And so for all those people,
they only have
for
gold,
those
they would.
For those people who like to do currency exchanges, I would expect the gold to gem ratio to get very, very, very good then, because people are going to be converting gems to gold a lot that day. So the other trading it the other way is going to get very nice. But if you buy a lot of gems now when it's relatively low, and then everybody's buying gems converted to gold, you'll be able to get a lot more back later on. But yeah, so that's Gen 1s. I think prices are going to go up July 13th. I think they're already shifting up right now. Precursors are already rising because Zeratol's buying like every precursor on the freaking market. Rages are like 90 gold again or something like that. But I think that a lot of the Legend Gen 1s are going to go up in price initially, and Gen 2s I think we'll start seeing Elderwood and Mithril start going up as people realize that, oh crap, I need all this for Gen 2s. But keep in mind, Gen 2s also require specifically hot or POF map completions. Maybe we'll see an increase in trading on Gifts of Masteries because people are going like, oh crap, I don't have a map completion done because I didn't prepare. So yeah, I mean, like if you don't have the legendaries right now, like Gen 1 to Gen 2, you guys want to work on this stuff, it's not coming out till July 13th. So you guys have 2 months. An HOT map completion for a Gen 2, HOT map completion, you can get it done in 4 hours. You get probably even less than that. I could get it done in 4 hours. Me kind of just like, oh, I'm going to do every event along the way. So you basically just got to make sure the only thing that's really timed is Dragon Stand, because you have to finish the Dragon Stand event for a POI and a Vista and a skill point at the end. Yep. And then because of mounts, there's only one POI in Auric Basin now that you have to do an event to get access to. And that's the one. It's at the south. It's at the south.
The Balthazar one, right?
No, the Balthazar one. You don't. It's a one. It opens up a door, and the only way to access that thing is through the door. So
or
there
you can
used
just
to be
go
one
with the mount. Yeah, I think.
Wait, what?
Well,
is
so
that in...
no, that's Auric Basin at the south.
Oh,
the
okay.
one at north, you used to have to do the event chain there to get access to it now, but now you could just take a Sky Skill or the bunny and jump over it now. But there is a POI at south that you have to do the event for, but it's also like the second event chain for south. So it's actually not that far. North, you have to do the entire event chain. You have to actually like capture the entire thing. So there's only one waypoint, or there's only one POI now that's stopping you from doing HOT map completions on a time basis, well, besides Dragon's Den. So doing HOT map completions way faster than POF. POF map completions, I don't think I've actually even completed an entire set on one character yet, because it just takes so much longer. So if you want to prepare for Gen 2, you got to do that. But it's Mithril and Elderwood. You need a lot of Mithril and Elderwood to buy up. If you're trying to make all of the Gen 2s from scratch right now, you're going to be spending a lot of time refining. Let me just say that.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing, right? And this is, I wouldn't say it's too late, but like, have you guys looked at the price of Mithril ore, for example, right? Like it's over a silver. Like, you go back 5 months ago, ore was like 40 copper. Well, it was always been 40 copper. So imagine if people had already just been stocking up from then and not now. Not when the announcement of the expansion comes out. When you stock up, because when there's nothing going on in the game, yes, you can make the argument that like, not that game, but like in a sense, like the whole game is boring or it's stagnant or I'm caught up on all the things. The days that there's nothing going on in the game, these weeks, days, months, this is where you're supposed to be preparing, stocking up on your materials, you know, just slowly putting together the pieces of your goals that you're trying to get. Maybe legendary armor, maybe legendary weapon, maybe maybe it's a specific achievement, so maybe that's not relevant to you, but you do it before the announcement, because when the announcement comes out, you just make things harder. Like now, if you want mithril ore, look at that, you're paying a silver for mithril ore, silver 30 copper too. So if you generate the map currencies, generate the material currencies, everything beforehand, you wouldn't encounter such a problem anyway. It would already have been there and you've been like, okay, now I just need this much left. It makes the progress easier.
So there's been a lot of stuff in chats like, well, I don't have machetes. Well, if you've been getting the daily free machete since Hot came out, or ever since that item's been available, you'll have enough machetes. I did all of my HOTs, map completions, and I got all my Dragon Sand crystalline ore without having to spend any map currencies, purely because I've been using that vendor every single day to get a free machete. I don't have a lot of HOT map currency because I use them all to make my Gen 2s. But every single Gen 2, I made day 1 of the patch because I prepared in advance. So I had all my map completions done. Because the recipes for the Gen 2s, it was the exact same thing every time. The only difference was the shard you had to get. And then so it was pretty easy to prepare for those. And if you had enough unbound or volatile magic, you could buy the shards instantly whenever you got the new map. That's why it's going to be a big question for Gen 3 is, are they going to follow the Gen 2 model or the Gen 1 model? I think the Gen 1 model is, again, I think they should do a mix. I think that they should still have like the crafting, the collection things for the precursor, but make the Gen 2 itself, or make the Gen 3, the legendary itself, tradable if they want. So if you want to, like, I don't know, I'm actually thinking maybe just follow the Gen 1 model, but the crafting for them follows like the Gen 2 model. So it's materials instead of some like weird, like, oh, some of the precursors cost ascended materials and some of them don't. Some of them are more expensive. Because the reason why Gen 1's the precursors cost more to make than it is just to buy at the trading post right now is because it takes ascended materials. And they balance the prices on each of the precursor crafts on the price of ascended materials at the time that they released it compared to the price on the TP at the time. Well, that was, Sam, how many years ago was that now?
The first release of a Gen 2 Legendary, you mean?
No, the crafting system for Gen 1 precursors.
That came around the same time as we got, I think, this 4th HOT Legendary.
So 3
like around,
years, four years?
It's definitely like early 2016 at the latest.
Yeah, early 2016, yeah.
So 5 years then, right? They haven't adjusted. So the crafting prices for precursors were made based off of precursor prices and ascended material prices from 5 years ago.
But that's
and they never adjusted that.
They never go back on stuff they have already made. They always chase to make the new thing.
Yeah,
and that's very wrong. Like, just there is so much stuff fixing. Like,
yeah, if they use base materials like mithril and ultra like they did for Gen 2s, it leads to a much more stable thing. As far as those prices go, Gen 2s just cost so much more because they require so much mithril and elderwood. So I think they should take the best of both systems.
Here's the thing,
Gen
though,
1
like there's an argument people on, I think a lot of people are kind of 50-50. The reason why some people love Gen 2s is because it's more prestigious to get Gen 2s, I guess, because you actually have to get the weapon yourself. Like, you can't just buy it through the trading post, right? You can't buy your way. You can have all the materials, everything that you can do, but you can't actually put together the weapon unless you do other collections. And I can see, in a sense, sure, that's fine. It does give prestige. But as a person who's more interested in the trading aspect, you leave out a item or items that could be used in the economy in a better sense. It could be another currency to trade with, like they're basically a cash currency to trade. And also, something that Sam always touches upon is the time investment. Some people maybe only have an hour of their time a day to really play this game, right? They have an hour, 2 hours at most, and they have to go, they have work duties, or they have something in their life that just doesn't allow them to play this game for endless hours every day. Or even if they want to play it consistently every week, 1 hour, it's like, if you're playing the game 1 hour every day, it's still not enough, right? Like, you have to make so much of that 1 hour.
You can make metas.
Yeah.
You might even not make the metas. Like we were talking about the fact that you need to do Dragon Stand for Crystalline Ore. What do you do if you just miss the meta? You just don't. You just don't make your legendary.
Yeah, but it kind of gives them that like option to like, I want this item. It's just I genuinely can't commit the time. Let me buy it as well. So I feel like that is a convenience that Gen 1 has that Gen 2 just doesn't have. Like it is prestigious, but it puts out a lot of other players who would rather, just they're comfortable with Gen 1 because again, they don't have time. So
Sam, HMS Divinity is a wonderful rifle. You shoot cannonballs.
I stand by my opinion.
The torch I agree with. The torch I thought was a birthday.
The
cake
torch,
when it
the
came
first
out.
time I saw the, do you know what my thinking was? The first time I saw the torch, I was like, "Is this a wedding cake?"
Yeah, I thought it was a cake.
That's how I
thought it was a
about
cake.
Yeah, exactly. Like I looked at it and I was like, "That's a wedding cake on a stick."
Like why is this
I mean, like
Balthazar's torch? It was a birthday cake.
Bro,
Or, yeah, it was a
whoever
birthday.
approved that design, I don't know. I'm sorry. Whoever
Still,
it is,
I'm
I
still
hope
pretty
you're
sure it was a joke or
considering-
something. 'Cause, like, some skins are super well made, and it makes them kind of hard to decide which legendary is better between Gen 1 and Gen 2. For example, if you take Meteorologicus, the design about it's beautiful. The weapon itself looks wonderful. But Xioquatl, you have that small Quetzalcoatl, like the flying snake following you around. It's such a good design. Same Exordium, like Sunrise, Twilight, the combination Eternity, it looks amazing. But come on, Exordium, it changes shape based on skills. That's so dope, right? Like they've managed to make some very good legendaries on both ends, but there are some designs that are just bad or too niche, in my opinion. Like, hear me out. The wedding cake is shit. For real. No cap. Shushadu, unless you're very into Quaggons, I don't see anyone using it. Like, Flameseeker Prophecies is so much better.
Yeah,
You're very
Flameseeker
into
Prophecies
Quaggons, into it, that's okay. That's completely fine.
No, I don't reskin any of my legendaries. I want to replace my Sunrise because it says transmuted on it. So
just buy another one.
I've thought about that and buying a Twilight so I can make Eternity and get rid of that tainted Sunrise.
True.
Well,
It's okay. Like there are just some of the skins which are questionable / bad. Like the Dreamer. Okay, I get it. You shoot ponies. It has an annoying sound. Great. You do you. I wouldn't use that.
You can turn off the sound.
You can
now.
jump out is so much better. Yeah, of course you can turn off the sound, etc. But there are just some skins that are better on one end or the other.
Well,
Yeah,
the Dreamer, Quip, Moot, those were the joke. Those are considered like the joke legendaries, right? That's why they kind of made it so that Chukwuchumbawat was one of the first ones they came out with. Pistol, Australaria was one of the first ones they came out with for Gen 2.
Yeah.
What was the mace for Gen 2? I can't even remember.
the
right
mace
now.
It's
No, it's the. No, I can't remember it.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's got like that fire design. It's
like a
Yeah.
meteor, like that. Like
To the
you just-
Revenant-
Eureka, yeah.
Eureka,
So
yeah.
yeah, Eureka. there you
the
go.
3 joke ones were like the first ones that they came out with for Gen 2 because they're like, well,
Joke?
people that want to use a pistol legendary or a mace legendary, or a Shorpa legendary. Okay, we want to give you a non-joke one for it. So right, that's why they came out with those 3 early on. Like they actually said that.
I don't care what you guys think.
I like the disco
think,
ball though.
I think the Moot is the way to go, right? Disco, like it's the 70s, all right? I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like Moot is dope. I have Moot. I'm very happy about it. It's actually one of the legendaries that I made myself. Like I did the exploration for that one.
I made all my
My favorite-
legendaries. So.
My favorite legendaries, I made the exploration myself, and every other legendary, I was like, am I just gonna buy a GOM from someone?
I have
Yeah,
yet
I'm
to
doing it.
make a single gift of exploration myself. I'm actually
My-
apparently
Stream gold.
a-
Stream gold.
apparently
My
okay.
account bound legendaries, every single one of them was handcrafted, hand forged by myself. Every gift of exploration done.
That's cute.
Every one of my legendaries, I paid someone to make it for me. I don't even remember who did what weapon for me at the time too. So like, it's less prestigious for me. But apparently, Zushin has told me that if I ever actually finish a map completion, apparently I owe him a gift of mastery because he wants the pleasure of saying Guild MM sold the gift of mastery to me. And it's just like,
Just make him pay 10 times the price.
Make
Go for
two
it.
gift masters with it, actually. So
what would I do with the second one though? Do I make one for myself or
Make
do I
a
sell?
legendary for yourself,
Imagine the
yeah.
post on general trade and overflow wanting to
can make
sell
a
GOM 500 gold.
you should sell it to Souls.
True. One to
No,
Souls, one
this-
to Xushi.
I don't know if I would answer. The funny thing is, I taught Souls how to make them. So imagine the student is now the master scenario with Souls because that's basically
And then you sell the movie rights to Universal, and you've got it.
could be. What I hear is Gilliam's going after Sim Souls' world best map comp. Nah.
Yeah,
I ain't
just
gonna
make
bother.
it a stream roll, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
to
the
go.
people have spoken. They desire this content.
Could be. You know, I actually have like my Guild of Mem character has like about 60% map completion, so it's only 40% that I have to get done. So and extra.
How have you never done a back completion yet?
No, man, no.
On a few
I've
characters.
spent
And
maybe
I
more
would
hours
not
like
use it
sitting
yet.
and looking at graphs and spreadsheets and opening up tabs on Black Lion BLTC and GL2 Spidey than actually playing
So
this
have
game.
I.
But
Still have
done
we.
completion.
Yeah, still done a few as well. Like
I don't
wouldn't-
know.
I wouldn't
For me,
have it any other way.
because most of my time also playing the game was mostly in World vs. World. And so if I wasn't playing World vs. World or raiding with a guild, I was just AFK on the chain. Like I never bothered too much in the PvE aspect. I just did everything in PvE, but I never put more effort into it because most of my focus was World vs. World. So
All of my map completions were done when you still required World vs. World map completion.
oh, so you're like the OG.
I think that was the same, to be fair.
And the freaking green keep in EBG when I was on SOR and we were against Blackgate and they were always green. There was a call one time out that's like, we have the keep, we have green keep. I swapped to every single one of every character. I had how many I had 45 characters at that point. I swapped to every single character to unlock that POI because it took me 2 years to get that POI.
That's kind of mad. I actually throw me no stones. I think I actually swapped servers to get it. I was like,
I didn't want to
all
pay.
it takes is going to the enemy. Sign me in.
I didn't want to pay the gems. Like I'm like super frugal. I don't like spending stuff unless I
Man,
have to.
I went.
It's like
I went to
I'm
a
not
cheap server. I went to like the cheapest shit. Like there are so many tiers on EU. Like the bottom tier, they just throw rocks at each other and poke themselves with sticks. On these servers, you just swap for super cheap, and you can get the POIs easy.
But then you'd have to pay to swap back.
Because you assume I swapped back. That's where you're mistaken.
Aren't you an ANF partner? You can transfer anytime you want.
I was an active World vs. World player back then.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I never was actively in World vs. World, so I didn't care. I was like, count me in. I'll swap. I can stay there. It's fine.
Oh well. Anyway, so moving into another part of the discussion, what do you guys in End of Dragons, specifically this roadmap we have until July 27th? A lot of people in the overflow were talking about like, hey, like what do we do? Like, and I kind of had the answer of like, really, I can't give you a concrete answer. It's more like everything is chaos right now. So like, you personally have to figure out what's your priorities. But in terms of a roadmap, how do you guys feel about this roadmap that takes us into the live stream, right? The live stream on 27th. They could have announced it and just been like, okay, just tune in on live July 27th. We're going to tell you all the details, features of the Dragons. But instead, they gave us a clear guideline and kind of like a roadmap to prepare us. Even some of that is taking us back to Living World Season 2 and Season 3. And I think it's a good idea. It's a way to hype up the players to get back into the game, a way for new players to enjoy previous content that they couldn't be here for at the time, and they can enjoy it with activity, and a reason for current veterans to go back for more achievements, more rewards. I think it's just a smart way to finally market the game and towards a expansion announcement. But what about you guys?
You want to go first?
Legendary. All right, go ahead, Sam. You go.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, first thing I would say is that they learned from their mistakes. Like the content drought before HAT killed the expansion hype. They also learned that you can't just get everything leaked and then release the X-Pack, because some people are just going to be like, oh, already everything has been shown, we can't do this anymore. And that was Path of Fire. Like, for the people who don't remember, Reddit, in the 6 months leading to Path of Fire, you had a leak post every week, be it specializations, maps, content, story, whatever, leaks all around. There were throwaway accounts every day of the week being created to just post about the stuff. And then there was the Icebridge Saga announcement, which I believe they understood kind of flopped. Like the whole let's get everyone into a theater and try and drop a gigabomb, and that failed as well. So this right now is them doing things correctly. They were like, okay, so far we haven't shown jack shit about End of Dragons except a logo. That's all we got. So they tell us, all right, at the end of the month of July, we'll tell you more about it. And until then, we want you guys to stay in touch with the game. So returning festivals, returning contents, rush weeks, be it Fractal or Boss Rush, War vs. World weeks, War vs. World, no downstate, etc. They're trying to make everyone care about the game and the right way, because they're doing it on all game modes. And that is huge. Tournament of Legends as well plays very nicely into the Armory release. They're doing everything to get people engaged, and I think that's good. Now the only thing that's interesting to look at is whether or not people will play the game, whether they will actually agree to play all the different areas, be dedicated to it, and generate activity where we need it for materials, drops, etc. For some more sinks maybe in the economy as people get back into it and craft some stuff. Like, engagement is needed to prepare a good baseline for the X-Pack release.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's more kind of preparation in terms of kind of getting you ready. So like, for example, World vs. World is one of the first bonus weeks that we're getting, right? So that's coming up in 2 weeks, maybe less than 2 weeks even. And then you have PvP right after that. I feel like it also sets the trajectory for like people to like go touch a bit of World vs. World, right? Go play a little bit of this, try this out. For people who have not tried it out, for the people who are playing those game modes, it's gonna be exciting for the game mode to have a bonus week. So it gives the other people incentive to go play this game mode. Then next week, PvP, go try PvP. So it's kind of shifting activity between game modes, which is much needed, honestly, because like if they just did stuff for PvE, like it would kind of set the image of like, yeah, we don't really care about these two game modes. We only care about PvE. So the fact that they even made sure that World vs. World and PvP are getting bonus weeks, not by the way just in May, June, July. There's 3 bonus weeks that you can participate in up until July 27th. It speaks a lot of, whoever it is in the marketing team, definitely, this is one I can definitely give a thumbs up to. Like previous times, we've known more times than not that they've not hit anything out of the park. But the few times that they do it very well. And this is one of those times where they probably have done it exceptionally well as well.
So, I mean, like, even if you did all the Living Story Season 2 and 3 achievements, like you got the meta, you did every single achievement when it came out, like they're giving you a reason to go back and play them again when they reintroduce them. So I know a lot of players, came to the game after Season 2, Season 3. They haven't played those maps because they don't want to pay the gems for it. They're giving all those maps again for free. Now, if you did pay gems for it, it's okay. You've had access to them. But it's like for people trying to gear up for raids and stuff like that, getting Ascended gear or Ascended trinkets, hey, guess what? All those Living Story Season 3 maps will be unlocked for free again if you log in during those times. And if you are a veteran, you did play all those, you have a reason to go back because if you do every single new achievement from Living Story Season 2 and 3 that they're adding, you get a precursor for a Gen 3 when End of Dragons comes out. You get a voucher for it. And if you do For the PvP amulet, the legendary amulet that they're adding, the wording was kind of weird because they said for every playable living story season that they're adding new stuff for. So season 4 getting new achievements too? I don't know. But if you do the meta achievement for 2, 3, 4 and Ice Root Saga, the new ones that they're adding, you get a legendary PvE amulet. You don't have to do PvP for an amulet anymore. So the only thing that you can't get in PvP at this point, or PvE at this point, would be one ring, because you still need Confluence for a full set, which you have to get from World vs. World. So they're giving reasons for people that are PvE players to go back and play them again. Depending on how long the meta achievements are going to take, it might be a relatively easy thing to do. Now, if it's really, really grindy, like the Drizzlewood Coast achievements, maybe it'll take a little bit longer. But once you have them unlocked, those achievements are there forever. So you have time to go back.
Yeah, I think they assume that you would not need more time than the time frame before the expansion releases. So it should really be doable, like, efficiently, quickly.
Well, but we're talking about quickly and efficiently in terms of what ANET says, because they probably thought that the Drizzlewood Coast achievements were fine too. I personally hate those achievements where it's just like, instead of doing it skill based, where it's like, hey, go do like for the Dragonstorm for Bram, like, hey, break his bar like 3 times, like prevent it from doing the attack. Then we're gonna make it do it 10 times, which actually isn't that bad. But if you look at some of the Drizzlewood Coast achievements, you got to do that thing a lot. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're getting a PV amulet. They're doing PvP World weeks. I would like it if they did like raid fractal strike bonus weekends too, like they do in Guild Wars 1. It would have also really been nice if they called out on the schedule T-Pod's raiding tournament, because that's happening in July. It would have been nice if they put something out about that, like on the schedule, so that the raid players have something to look at or reminded about it, and you don't just know about the raid tournament because you watch T-Pod stream. So
yeah, I think that would also, I mean, even the Raid League, I believe, has something coming out in July, right? So like, or June. So like, yeah, those could have been. This is something I talked with Snebzor about. Like, it would really help if they even included some of these community-driven, contests and competitions and tournaments and all sorts of things that are community-driven. Like, if they just include that in.
Again, because I could talk for hours on that.
No. Like, we're not going to get into that like tangent again. Because honestly, we've done 2 streams on that. Like, that's been there, done that. But like, just to say that, like, those could have been roadmaps in that roadmap that they gave out. Yes, I agree. They could have probably added that in, right? And hey, by the way, GVG tournament. Like, I'm literally working to host a GVG tournament in June, which. Right now, I don't have support from ANET, but I'm hoping this is the support I can get from ANET, because me, Roy, and T-Pod are going to, let's just say we're doing a lot to bring this GVG tournament to life, right? And there's a lot of gold going into this tournament. So things like that, the Raid League, T-Pod's own Heartstuck Raiding League tournament in July could have probably helped in on the roadmap. But overall, though, even without that, right, just from a company standpoint, I have to say that this is a very thought out roadmap.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you were getting ANA support for the GVG tournament, but I think that's relatively recent announcement.
It's in the works. So yeah. I mean, the whole way the GVG tournament came to happening was I've been wanting to do one for a long time, and I talked with like Sunny. He's like one of the leaders in the GVG NA Discord. And he told me like he wants to, but like there's no resources to get it done. And I was like, okay, fine. And then months later, him and Roy apparently had a discussion, and then nothing came out of it. And then Sunny told Roy like MM actually has just been trying to push for a tournament for like a year or 2, so maybe ask him if there's a possibility. And then they hit me up, and then we had a call, and then. Yeah, Roy was like, you seem very persistent to do this GVG tournament. I'm like, yes. And then, I just told him like, I'll fund the entire thing. So I asked him like, what would it take to get the GVG tournament a reality? And I told him specifically, we need to do cross region, and they both wanted to do a cross region for a while now. So like, it just kind of, everyone had the same goals. And yeah, they told me like, if really the biggest hurdle is getting gold to transfer the guilds. So I asked like roughly how many guilds. So let's just say there's a roster of 20 people per guild. let's just say there's 15 or 10 guilds that participate. I said, you know what, it will probably take about 100,000 gold just to fund the tournament. So I said, you know, I'll put up 50k and I'll find out if Cassiano will put up 50k, which Cassiano's already put up 50k. And then if possible, the community will try and raise money from the community, and the rest of it, whatever else, you know, Cassiano decides to put more, I decide to even put, I think I'm probably going to put more money as well in it. So, and then, you know, Roy is very well known in the GVG community, so he's been helping organize everything. So that's a game mode that doesn't even exist in the game. It would be amazing if there was support for a game mode like that, because that is what the title of this game is, Guild Wars. So
yeah, more stuff for that. I'm not gonna do it, but yeah. So I was gonna ask if you had ANA support, but apparently you don't. But I mean, like Teapot's tournament.
You've got Teapot.
Yeah, we got Teapot involved, so that if Teapot's involved, we could get
for the what I'm talking about for the Heartstock tournament. Teapot does have ANET support. Like they're donating gems. You get like an in-game title and stuff like that. But they didn't even put that. They could have put that on the schedule then. Like, why wasn't that on the roadmap? That hey, like for all the raid guys.
I mean, it makes sense from a company standpoint not to put anything on your company roadmap that isn't entirely driven by your company.
Because they can make a separate post for that.
That makes sense. They're the blog posts for community stuff.
Yeah, I have no doubt they'll probably shout out the tournament in July, like maybe a few weeks before the tournament. But I agree with that. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't fit in that sense. It would be cool if it was part of the roadmap, but
I mean, just like as a PR, you would never do that.
Yeah.
Like when you're in PR, you only put stuff that you have 100% control on onto your website as something sanctioned by your company.
True. Yeah.
If it's something made by a third party, you don't push that forward saying, "Yo, we're doing this." You just don't, because you take way too many risks.
I mean,
the internet doesn't like taking risks.
They've already had to vet him though to be able to like do support, like to like support it at all, anyways. Though, so I'm like, okay, if you're wary about the risk for it, maybe you should have did that before you sponsored it. But
well, no, I feel like it's more of a sense that's like that's community. Like they will get their own appreciation post at some point. Like, but it's not relevant now to the current roadmap, because maybe the current roadmap they just wanted to focus on specifically what their plans are for the game, right? Because
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
maybe it's just because I'm bitter that they don't do enough.
I guess, but I mean, in terms of the roadmap, though, I think all in all, though, it hits a lot of things that is much needed. What do you think?
I'm glad they're giving information at all.
Yeah.
Though, and they did say we're going to get more information about Endo Dragons is going to come out on because they're going to do a live stream. I think they said. And then they also said in the post about them announcing when they said Armory was going to be free, they did say that more information will be released as we get closer and closer to the release date. So hopefully it's well implemented. Like I got my fingers crossed for that, but it is also ANET, so I'm a little like being weary about it, I guess.
Yeah, you should do that.
I'll probably do a community roadmap. There's a lot of events being planned, so someone to pile all these up into one is probably a good idea. So by the way, just going back to the first thing on the roadmap, which was the patch note preview, right? I was almost feeling a little scared for them, right? Like, because this was the first thing on the roadmap, and the day they were supposed to release it, there were some technical difficulties or something that they had, which ended up the patch notes ended up releasing like way later in the day, like at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. I was really worried that they would mess that up, because imagine messing up the first thing on your roadmap. It's how that looks for the game. So that was kind of like something else. Yeah.
The bat. I keep doing this. I kept doing this on my stream when I was going through. I kept calling it the batch balance preview, and I just did it again. So yeah, the patch balance preview. A lot of people felt it was underwhelming. Like the biggest changes, like Power Chrono, I think I'm okay with Power Chrono. Time Warp's kind of crazy. Moon Thief was kind of crazy. The Torment change is really crazy. Getting rid of Retaliation, but other than that, the overall changes that they talked about in that were it was hyped up. Like we thought it was going to be like a much more game changing balance patch. It really wasn't. But I mean, it's nice that we're getting a balance patch. It's nice that we're getting a preview for it, I guess, instead of just like seeing it the day it comes out. But it didn't change a lot, I guess. I guess it will lessen the blow for like torment sigils, I guess, because we got it. But I know Teapot was really underwhelmed by it. He thought it was like he had a huge hype stream for it, and then it turned out from his point of view to be really not much.
It was a little, I think everybody, not just, you know, I think most streamers that covered it were kind of a little confused. And
all right,
yeah.
Wait, let me actually get here the best video about Guild Wars 2 balance. You need to play this on stream to understand how balance works in Guild Wars 2. And that's a great thing because Enko is be right back. So that's like the perfect time to play this exact video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hoping this doesn't affect these. Yeah, for some reason, every time it's only been
swap window, we go away.
Yeah, it's only been happening on this stream, by the way. It hasn't been happening any other stream. We did the podcast, it didn't happen. So, all right, let me play this, but let me, you know, kind of. That way that we can show, right? We show? Yes, we do.
Shield Bash is also getting an extended knockdown.
Alright, I don't know why it's doing this, by the way. It's weird. I'll have to do a window.
It's really right.
Yeah.
Like this is the true spirit of Guild Wars 2 balance patches.
Window
It's
capture.
the second video.
And the window capture will be this, yeah, nerf.
Nothing can be worse than that exact moment.
Alright, so we'll play this.
Yeah.
There you go. You guys can see it. Maybe make it a little bigger.
Like it starts around 20 seconds in.
Nice.
Oh, Lady Peru, thanks so much for the raid. Let's give them a quick shout out.
Enko remembers that and remembers what true balance patches were back in the days.
Oh, this, yeah, I've seen
That
this.
video
This video is so, it's memeable. This is such a memeable video.
I mean, the ISO nerf,
We're gonna
it
play
changed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's like, oh, Weavers, because it wasn't just ISO. There was all ground targeted AoEs that Ellie had. So Ellie got like destroyed.
Axed, and that was just around Heart of Thorns. It was like a few weeks after Heart of Thorns, maybe just like 1 week after it.
Yeah, well, let's play it. Let's see it.
Yeah, it was around well, because we had the Ellie meta in raids for like a long time.
Stun duration.
No. That killed dungeons and
1 second
fractals.
to 2 seconds.
This is the OG
It's
patch.
It's playing.
Okay.
It wasn't right after HQ.
We need to shut up so people can listen to it.
Elementalists.
Wait, what?
Icepo.
Wait, I'm gonna.
Shield Bash is also getting an extended knockdown.
Stun duration.
Stun duration. Or,
Yeah.
whatever.
This
1 second to
reaction.
2 seconds. Boom.
Boom.
Okay, and there was one other change we Oh yeah, elementalists. Icepo. 50% damage nerf. It now affects 3 targets per hit. Enjoy.
Thank you for the mic drop, Aurelio.
That was so bad.
So yeah,
That was so bad. I forgot about that existed.
balance
You just unlocked a memory that I had suppressed for so long.
oh, MM, come on.
I was suppressing that for a while. Like,
This is what the balance patches originally felt like. And it's important to remember it. Balance patches back in the days felt like whack-a-mole. That's what we called them, whack-a-mole patches. Because everything that was too good, they just whacked. That was everything balance patches were about. And right now we're getting actual good balance patches, not necessarily good by themselves, but better than what we were used to getting.
Yeah, so we're getting more tweaks to the systems now, to the game now, instead of like oh, we're deleting Power Chrono. Power Chrono will still be playable. It's just that the tones of damage down a little bit. Makes it harder to maintain quickness. Maybe you actually need to have an STM Chrono. Maybe you actually need more people running delayed reaction. But yeah, back then when Ice Bow got nerfed, that was a different nerf than I was thinking of. I was thinking of the nerf where ground target AoEs, every additional hit got 10% damage reduction. That was the one I was thinking of. But that one in particular, that change, when that Ice Bow nerf happened, all it did was, okay, now we run Lightning Hammers. It's the exact same build. Now we run Lightning Hammers instead. But yeah, that was something that it's like, oh, Ellie, goodbye Ice Bow, and then the stream ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad patches aren't like that anymore. For those of you guys remember Guild Wars 1, Smiter's Boon just getting nerfed into the ground. It was like meta for PvP for a really long time, and then they're just like, we don't like this, so we're going to make this skill completely worthless. Like no reason to ever run it again. That's why it's still being called like Smiter's Boon if like they destroy a class or a skill. Like we're not getting that anymore. Like they're doing tweaks now. It may be that the days of game-changing balance patches are gone. It could just be that, hey, we're just going to tweak what we see and like adjust what we don't like anymore. I do think massive shifts in the balance, like massive shifts in the meta, do make things interesting for like seasons. If we actually had like seasons in this game where it's like, hey, we're going to get a balance patch every 4 months, and it's going to change the meta every single time, like because they want the PvP scene to be different every season. They want us running different builds in PvE for like straight. I keep saying strikes. You can run anything in strikes for raids.
You don't do anything first. You can go naked in strikes. It works.
So it's just like if they actually did game-changing meta balance, or not balance, game-changing meta changes every single patch, or like every single balance patch every 4 months, where like we have to redo everything. We have to re-gear our characters. We have to relearn how to play and redo our comps. It would definitely shake things up and make the game feel different every 4 months. But with Guild Wars 1, with the way it's designed, like the equipment, like there's no gear treadmill. It's not something where like you have to re-gear. They're not doing that. They want it to be, seriously, it looks like they're just like, we're going to see like, oh, Power Chrono's overpowered since the July 11th patch. We need to tone it down. Granted, it's been a year. July 11th,
Well,
right?
Here's the thing.
It's been a year.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like something that I talked with Kiba on the time he was guesting on this podcast. And he made a very interesting suggestion, right? Because right now, when you look at the terms of balancing, you're balancing multiple variations of classes, right? You could say every class is basically 3 classes, right? Because you have the core and then 2 specializations to that class. The way that Aina treats that is that each specialization kind of is its own class. And he was saying a better way that could have been implemented, and they could still do this, it's not something they can't do, is they can, rather than make the specializations on their own standalone specs that are basically enhanced in their own version, make the core class is where you do all your major changes. The specialization is not its own class. Just make that an enhancement of the original core class. And that way you don't have too much to balance out, and there's not too much that you have to fix every time you put out a balance in the system, right? Because then what fundamentally it comes down to is you just have your core, that is the main class itself, and those specs, they're just enhancements to that, right? And that's easier to balance than having what is essentially 3 classes for 1 class.
Well, part of the problem right now is if they adjust any of the core specs, like let's say for Power Chrono, they're like, oh, we need to tone it down. So we're going to nerf the domination stats. Well, that affects core Mesmer. It affects Mirage or running domination for some reason. But if you look at what they did with Power Chrono this time, they specifically only adjusted Chronomancer traits. They adjusted Danger Time, which is the master top Chronomancer trait, and they changed Chrono Phantasma. My suggestion was to tone down domination because I think they overtuned those. but they only touched Chronomancer specific ones, so it does not affect any other spec. So maybe that's what they're looking at now. If we need to tone down a specific elite spec, we'll tone down just those specific traits. They didn't do that for some of the other classes. Like Warrior got some really funky changes, and those were all core Warrior changes. But for Power Chrono, like them needing to tone it down from the overpoweredness that it is, they changed the Chronomancer traits, and then they changed Time Warp because Time Warp was too strong overall anyways. So maybe that's how they're looking at things now. I mean, someone mentioned that, oh yeah, every 3 to 4 months we had to change runes and sigils. And back then that really sucked because permanent extractor wasn't a thing, legendary swapping wasn't a thing. You just had to overwrite them. Oh, you need to change from, well, we kind of always use scholars. Like to commanders to something else if you were a boon chrono. Well, guess what? Those commander runes that you had to farm like 30 dragon stands for because sometimes you only got 20 crystalline ore a map back then. Now it's 100. You get to overwrite them or get a new set of gear, which is what I did. You had to overwrite them. So if they did change it, like where it's like, hey, every 3-4 months, new meta, massive shift in the new meta for Worldless World and PvE, and PvP, but PvP gear wise doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
If they did that along with Armory, guess what? Everybody would want to get legendaries because it's like, oh, new builds come out, I just change. I don't have to re-gear.
That was the whole reason behind getting legendaries in the first place, because we used to get some much more, well, as I said, whack-a-mole balance. Like if anything was too good, make it less good, make something else better. And that's just the way it was made. It made sense back then to get legendaries for that exact purpose, so that you wouldn't have to re-gear, to rebuy everything, etc. And that's also one of the reasons why we also kept like a bunch of sigils around. Because you never knew when they might become good. Right now, it just stayed what's good and what's not. Like, who the fuck would use a super sigil of ice? Like, ever?
Do you remember also legendaries used to be bugged for downscaled content?
Yeah, man, that was...
Yeah.
Dungeons, you needed Ascended / Legendaries for some of them.
No. Legendaries were better than Ascended, because Legendaries scaled up an additional tier over Ascended back then.
True.
So it was like, oh, if I'm doing AC, I actually do about 15% more damage if I had a legendary versus an ascended. It was really bad.
But then Sam, back then sigil swap on legendaries wasn't a thing, only stat swap.
It was just stat swapping.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, this is also where kind of in that quality of life where now the sigils is kind of convenient, and it goes back to the improvement again in this whole entire podcast, the discussion of how the Armory improves upon those things. They've had minor QLs, and now you're having the big major quality of life feature coming into play.
Because like there were some previous features on the same level as this back in the days. Like once again, I'm gonna like the best example to use as some kind of maybe not like same scale, but when they introduced a wardrobe, it was free and it was major QL. Like I don't even remember what Guild Wars 2 was before the wardrobe.
I remember
the transmutation stones.
There was a lot of transmutation stones and a lot of inventory waste.
On the TP, I mean on the gem store.
I still have 2 transmutation stones as a collector's item.
In my opinion, like the April 2014, right? When this was April sometime.
Yeah, that was a huge change.
Yeah, that was still the biggest. I think you can argue at the time that was the biggest game-changing feature they implemented. Like that.
And also, like the dies, like we got it at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah,
like
we
the
did.
dice.
Oh yeah, the dies didn't do a transmutation charge anymore.
Yeah, like I mean, like that was such a major QL, and people tend to forget about this. Like we've seen that A8 can do QL, and that when they do it, it's actually major, very well done, and you can't just talk shit about it. Like anyone who tells me, yeah, wardrobe insignificant, I would slap them from across the Atlantic.
That's what drives the game.
Like
Fashion War sells, man. But here's the thing: when someone tells you wardrobe, tell them, all right, you go tell me an MMO where you can use the exact same item without wasting a inventory slot if it's specifically for that skin, right? I'll wait, right? And they can't come up with an answer. that's how significant wardrobe is. Like, I don't know why people
Or
would
just
take it
like-
lightly.
Any other game where you need to sacrifice an item bearing the skin each time you want to do a transmog. Just fuck that.
But yeah,
Like,
you know
all
what would
these
actually
games
get me
were-
to do Fashion Wars more? Infinite transmutation charge.
No, just go play the game, Enko.
I
Just play
swear
the
to God,
game.
like,
I
even me who doesn't...
I have like 3,500 transmutation charges. The
Okay,
problem
then.
is because
Well,
it's a consumable resource. I feel the urge to use as few as possible because it's not freely renewable. It's like
Same.
I
got
have
below
to
2K
I have to
and I
control
feel
it. So,
naked. Yeah. I
so
got below
because of that,
2K.
I almost never use them, even
So,
though I've got so many.
Are you
of them.
asking for a permanent transmutation stone?
Yes,
Yeah.
How much would that cost? They would have to sell that
10,000 gems.
10,000 gems. You heard it here. Quality of life feature, all right? Whip out your credit cards,
No,
ladies and gentlemen.
No, 'cause seriously, look how much it costs for transmutation charges in the game, and they have to make this expensive. Otherwise,
Isn't it like
I-
5 for 300 or something?
let me look in the trading post right now. I've got
think
the-
something
I
like
would I would love to see metrics from Guild Wars on the most purchased non-skin items from the gem store. So like how many transmutation charges do people purchase like a week from the gem store? So it's 600 gems for 25. So
That's so bad.
if you're going to transmute 6 armors and 4 weapons, it's 10 for a full character change look, right? So yeah, it's like they would have to make this more expensive because everybody who's in Fashion would get one. But
Enko.
10,000 gems, well, 10,000 gems is $125. So how many transmutation charges would that get you? That would be the equivalent of 416 transmutation charges. Even 10,000 gems might be a little too low if they released one of those.
10,000 gems. How much would 10,000
It's equivalent to
gems
416. It's equivalent to 416 transmutation charges if you bought them in the gem store. Even that might be a little too low because some of the Fashion Wars people in this game
They swap every
would
day.
instantly buy that, and they would be changing their looks like every hour. Like they would change it, and then instead of being able to pre it, they would just pop it on there like, oh look, it looks good. Oh crap, I want to change it again. So yeah, even 10,000 gems I think would be too little. But
You
if
know
they
what?
released one, I would definitely get one, and I would actually probably start using it instead of
You
using
know
my
what we
precious 3,500 transmutation charges.
What we truly need, Enko, is a wardrobe template.
Maybe there's
about
a tool being
Think
worked on that
about
can
it.
also do wardrobe skins.
you just piqued the interest of some Fashion Wars fanatics in the chat. So, keep talking about the Fashion Wars. They love it. They love to see it. By the way, like we actually have a cosplay fashion show this month, and Manlight, who's in the chat, she is right now getting recordings done. I don't know if they finished, but they were doing recordings for the cosplay trailer for this month's cosplay fashion competition. If you want to join, hit up Manlight. Go.
All right, I lied. I have 3,401 transmutation charges because the last time I changed the looks on my characters, because my characters once I decide on a look and I look at it, I'm like, I like how that looks. I don't change it. So like my Ellie, it's still the same gear that I put. It's still the same skins that I put on it before the transmutation charge system was set up.
I want to
And
change my character.
I still like the look. I still like the look.
I wanna
It's the
change
one
my
that's
main
used
character.
This is the worst about this. It's when you get commission of your character, and then you want to change your look, and you're like, do I just get everything recommissioned, or do I just have something that doesn't match?
That's the
no,
thing.
so that-
That's
I've
where I'm
changed the
at.
look on my
That's where
Ellie.
I'm at,
I've changed the
because
look on my Ranger, and I'm like, why did I do that?
I have
So-
maybe close to 30, by the way, art commissions, and they're all, by the way, from the same artist. Like I don't commission. Now I've started like commissioning from other artists, but I have 30 art commissions done from one single guy, the one who even did all our commissions for the Barons, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm at the stage where I'm like, I want to change my Ranger's look, but everybody knows what I look like this. If I change it, like it's just
It's all over.
it's
You're not
over.
you
And
anymore.
so like I thought of a solution, Sam, and here's my solution, all right? And
Oh,
my
tell me.
solution, why don't
I'm
I
all
make
ears.
an art commission where my character is basically signifying the new change, right? The hoodie comes off.
Oh my
the
gosh,
grunt hood-
you're RPing through commissions.
I swear to God, Enko, this is what it's gonna take for me to change my look. I'm gonna have to art commission that I'm changing my look.
You're going too far. You're like you're not even playing the game anymore. You're meta. You're
Imagine doing 30 art commissions and then you just change your look. I feel like it just basically you just threw all the art commissions in the trash.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I got
the
two
art
art
commission-
commissions, and I'm feeling bad about changing the looks.
So the art commission that you have with all the TP guys in it, my Ellie's in that one with that original look from the first year of Guild Wars 1. And I like that look. I like how that outfit looks on my Ellie. I've actually gotten compliments from people in game for that look. The only thing I've changed on it is I made the black dyes darker and the red dyes brighter as new dyes come out.
You've actually sent me the same exact look when I told you like we're gonna do like I'm trying to actually get done an art commission for like most of the content creators and Guild Wars 2 streamers, which by the way, there's a lot of people on the list who have kind of ignored my DM and like they're like yeah I'll get it to you, and then they like never sent me like anything, and I'm like, by the way, do you still want to be in this? They're like yeah I'll get you the screenshot soon TM, and I'm just like, bro, I received maybe 11 and then there's like another 12 that I'm waiting for. So it's like, and the artist is like, you got a time frame, because if you don't give me these commissions by the end of May, I'm going to go ahead with different projects. And I'm like,
isn't this the same guy that on one commission, like we gave him the stuff and then we didn't hear from him for like 6 months?
Yeah, but he actually had real life stuff at that time. So like,
yeah, okay.
But like,
it's the same one,
he's
right?
the same one, but like he usually, when he's very consistent, like and I had like basically 30 commissions, and I could say that like most of them on average only took about like a month and a half or something at most. So
that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
So-
given the quality of these commissions, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, his artwork is really good. So,
Yeah.
let's tie this back to the Armory. So, Armory comes out. You can now use legendary armors across all your characters. I got 70 characters, 6 templates each. How many templates is that, guys? 420. Oh, 420. 420 templates, like armor looks that I would need to come up with. If they do a transmutation charge sale, maybe I'll actually buy some for once. Actually, if it's 420, yeah. So for me to do, if I had 2 armors per weapon swap or 2 weapons per weapon swap, and a set of legend armor per template with 70 characters with 6 templates each, right? So 70 characters with 6 templates each. So 6 different looks. That's 420. That's 10 transmutation charges each. I would need 4,200 transmutation charges to set up the looks for every single individual slot. Perfect timing for ANET to release infinite transmutation charges for 20,000 gems.
I like the dedication, Enko. The fact that you actually right now, like in the moment,
20,000 gems.
You're literally mathing the actual requirements that you need for your looks, like the actual dedication. I need 4,500 transmutation charges, and I need them now, and that's still not enough.
And on top of that, I'd have to buy up more equipment slots because some of my characters only have like 2, some of them only have 3, a few of them have 6, right? So many gems going into ANET if they would do that. But that is a project for me.
I'll be right back.
I'm going to do some
my
Fashion
medicine.
Wars.
I gotta take some blood thinners. I'll be back. You guys continue with the discussion.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do Fashion Wars while I'm deployed because my ping will be so bad. I probably won't be able to really do raids on a serious basis. So I'm expecting to go through all my characters and try out new stuff. And I got all the armor, I got all the skins, I got all these dyes. I might as well actually use them finally.
You know what we should have actually, Ankar? Like when you buy EOD, there are always packages. Like there is basic, medium, and like on the high one you get like extra gems. They should just make it so that in the higher one you get a bunch of transmutation charges.
No, and then infinite transmutation charge. 40,000 gems will buy.
40,000. You just multiplied the price by 2 twice.
I'm just thinking of the cost. I'm
Stop
just
about this.
It's so every charge right now, if you buy it for 600 gems for 25, so price per charge, it's 24 gems per transmutation charge if you buy the max package. If I need 4,200, That's 100,800 gems in transmutation charges if I was to purchase them all using that. Even talking about it on sale, let's say it's a 20% sale, that's still 80,000 gems. So maxed out character, maxed out account, maxed out equipment slots, a different look for every single slot. I would need 100,800 gems worth of transmutation charges for one look change for each one of those templates. 40,000 gems for a infinite transmutation charge? That's a bargain. I would so do that. Totally do that right now. 40,000 gems. I've got 22,000 gems in my wallet right now.
I mean, you would gold to gems for that, because think about the people who would actually need to credit card for it. 2k gems is 25 euros, so you would need 20.
All right. How about this?
So that would be 500 euros for that.
How about this?
500 euros?
Make it in-game. Make it in-game reward. 50,000 AP. 50,000 AP
How
reward.
many people are close to that, actually? Because we don't have
No,
the leaderboard.
we're talking End of Dragons. We're talking End of Dragons, though. They're going to add like another 15k AP.
True.
50k AP. I will never be able to get that.
Well, maybe if you complete a map completion, you would.
That was such a low blow.
Oh.
He just tossed it up there, though. I had to do it.
Oh man, because like I remember something that, you know, like I did a throwback with the Icebow video. I heard some people. I have another throwback. I'm sorry. Do you remember back when we had leaderboards directly on the website, like PvP
They still are.
They still are, yeah.
Oh, the World World ones. I'm thinking it's AP. Yeah.
Yeah, like because like I was thinking the AP leaderboard as well, based on regions and everything. Are people close to 50k right now?
There's people at 40, 41k.
No, I think top is like 44k.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
on efficiency,
I feel like they did a lot of shit to get to 28, and I don't want to do anything more than that.
So on efficiency for the achievements thing, they actually will show you, like, if you had every achievement in the game, how much AP you would have. So if you had every single achievement done in the game and you were capped out on your daily, monthly achievements, it's 44,610 AP in the game right now. So if they made it the 50k AP reward, End of Dragons, let's say it adds 10 to 15k AP, and
That's
now
actually
60k
doable,
is the max, that's doable. That's doable. It'd be an achievement. It definitely would be an achievement. But if you had 50k AP in the game, that shows some dedication. That deserves infinite transmutation charge.
Does it
or
show
if you have
dedication or
50k
new
AP,
life?
you deserve to just
50,000
be...
gems.
No,
there
if
you go.
If you have 50k AP, honestly, you deserve to be gifted 50,000 gems. Let's be honest. Like, how many people...
You could then buy an infinite transmutation charge for.
Someone stop him. Someone stop him right now.
Someone was saying this is how we lose a Baron for Fashion Wars. Yeah, Enko, this is your downfall now. This is it. It's all downhill from here. 400 gems per 5,000 is a joke.
No, I mean, I think it's a nice gesture. It's like I don't think they should give a ton of gems from that. 400 gems is okay.
I mean,
But,
when you think about it, 400 gems can actually get you a fair amount of basic stuff in the game, and they're not supposed to just do handouts. Like,
But
I mean,
again-
this is a game that doesn't have a sub. This is a game that's buy to play. They're not meant to do handouts. There are no other free-to-play / buy-to-play games that even give you that kind of stuff, like premium currency. So you're not supposed to get any. I don't
Thank you so
recall
much for
playing
the raid, by the way, Yazivul. For some reason, I scuffed your shout out. How the hell is that possible? There we go. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for the raid.
I think infinite transmutation charge would be a game changer for any Fashion Wars players, even if it was a high number of gems. Because if you do actually pay, like, buy transmutation charges, like, think of it right now, for all you Fashion Wars people out there, how many transmutation charges do you guys go through, like, a week? And do you spend money on those, or do you go farm PvP World with World for them? And if you are limiting your Fashion Wars changes based off your transmutation charges, and because you don't want to spend more gems, how often would you change your looks or tweak your looks if you had an infinite number of transmutation charges?
Oh yeah, every single day. Every single day.
Like you
I don't know.
know,
This
I
is a
struggle.
niche market, right? Like because, well, not niche actually. It's a lot of people in the game. The fashion wars definitely would have a field trip with this. I'm sure anyone else who like is maybe on low supply of chargers and it's just like I don't have enough. I want to use these up. I love this look, but like I don't want to waste them in case I don't like it. Maybe sure. It's the same question with perma hair kit. But yeah, actually, Tamale has a good comparison. How many people that have a permanent hairstyle kit? Out of those people that have it, how many actually use it every day?
Okay, we'll go back to 40,000 gems. I'll scrap the 50,000 gems. Right, 40,000 gems. If you bought gem cards, is $500. How many people would spend $500 if they had an infinite transmutation charge for Guild Wars 2?
I mean, this is not a gacha game, mate. This is no waifu simulator.
You don't have to buy it though. You could farm the transmutation charge if you wanted. This is for a 40,000 gem infinite transmutation charges. I'm betting you there are some Fashion Wars people that buy transmutation charges that have spent more than that on charges.
It's
just
possible.
buying like the individual
It's
uses.
possible. But I would.
I'll bring Subi up. Subi changed his looks every single week on every single one of his characters for like 5 years.
Like that's the thing though. These are the outliers. Like I think that there are many people in my case who just make one look that they enjoy on each character, on each set, and that's it. Like I struggle more finding a unique look for each of the roles I want to put on my characters than, you know, thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna make all the looks on all the characters and make everything different, etc. No, it's just like let's say I make a heal brand. I'm gonna be like, okay, I need this to look like an angelic cleric type of stuff. Then so I get the look. I'm done. I'll never change it.
But if you had if you had infinite charges and you had Armory coming out, you would do it. You would do it.
No, I wouldn't. I have 2,000 charges that I can just use, and I don't. I use like maybe 10 charges every 2 months. That's how little I use.
I would buy it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay money for it, but I would buy gems. I would pay at least half of it. 500. If it was 40,000 gems, was $500. I would probably get like 3/4 of it with gold, and then I would pay the rest. I'd pay the other 125 for it. So if at current exchange rate, obviously, if you buy gems, this would go up. 40,000 gems at current prices would be 13,000 gold. You know, with it going up, if you bought it all at one time, it would probably be like 15,000 gold. Easy purchase.
How much is 20k in gold right now?
Well, it's
half of what Enko just said, so 6.5k.
Yeah. So for a low price of one confetti infusion would be 20,000 gems. There you go. You get two chalk egg sacks purchased.
I mean, yeah. Let's not even talk about the infusions, which they're, by the way, they're going to go down.
That would be so nice.
With Dragon Bash,
Legendary Armory.
Listen, with Dragon Bash and the what's it called? Fractal Rush event. Yeah, the Fractal Rush and the Dragon Bash events, those are coming up. They're going to further tank those infusions. So listen, guys, if you want a chance to look like a Baron, if you want to look rich, you want to look like a I guess someone who's sophisticated with style of richness, right?
A pukey ball of cotton candy.
Yeah, exactly. Now's the time to buy up these cheap infusions. All right, now's your time. So yeah. Oh, by the way, a lot of the Fashion Wars players hate infusions. They go like, it sucks.
That because a lot of the infusions don't incorporate well into looks. You'd have to like design a look around the infusion aura. Yeah. But the so-called rich person look is literally like 8 phospholuminescence and your eye cancer, or like 8 chalk egg sacks and you're a comet. You're literally a comet when you move. That's why a lot of Fashion Wars people don't do it.
Someone with 7 chalk egg sacks. I looked at them and I was like, I can't even see your armor. Like you could literally be wearing shit, and I wouldn't.
That's the whole point. It's to distract you.
Get someone with 8 chalk egg sacks and put them on a raptor when you.
Oh yeah, when they dash with the raptor, it's just a trail.
It's beautiful.
You're a comet. You're literally a comet.
It's beautiful. Hey.
But yeah, I mean, for for actual Fashion Wars, you would have to design your look around what the infusion does. So like Pureless, I see people use those a lot with some fashion stuff. Aureliums, Queen Bee, I guess could be if you're going for some weird RP thing with bees and stuff like that. But like Ghostlies, I guess that could work too. But like Phospholuminescence, there is no fashion look that you would want to look like someone just puked on you.
No, I mean, Phospholuminescent, I actually saw one look that worked very well. It was someone who made a necromancer with the whitest skin tone and using extremely like jet black armor, like the dyes on the armor, etc. It just made a very like pale ghoulish look, and it actually was quite fine.
Okay,
so you can make it work like this, which is why I think that the best infusions, when it comes to actually wanting to make a decent look, aren't the expensive ones that just scream "I spent money." They're actually the ones that are rather subtle or only have like a skin effect. Like the aura ones start being like too big. It's just like skin effects. So like the phospholuminescence, well, not the phospholuminescent one, but the pololuminescent undulating refractors that you get from Halloween, the ones that are just the outline of the skins. These are kind of nice. You can also use Aureliums that are kind of okay. Like
even
just the ones that are
I would argue even
color is
you can like I think some of them, like maybe the only ones you can't really tailor looks towards are probably chalk and confetti. You can make the argument confetti, you kind of have to go over a very specific theme because the color is like literally there. It doesn't give you much room to change. But the rest of them, they can all be done in a nice, cool way. You just have to be creative about it, right? So
here's an idea: dye channels for weapons, dye channels
that would be big
for dye channels for infusions.
Dye channels for infusions.
You could change the aura colors.
No, that would make no sense because you already have different colors for some of the infusions.
You could get different. You could get different shades then. So, like, Chaos weapons or the Chaos axe in Guild Wars 1 and the Chaos gloves in Guild Wars 1, how those dyed, like, I don't know. I would like dyeable skins. All right, well, we're really off the track on economy stuff, but transmutation charges, if that would drive so much stuff.
Yeah.
Gem prices would go crazy if they did something like that. But it would pair perfectly with Legendary Armor release and with End of Dragons release when we get another 100 skins in the game.
So yeah, I mean, going to after this huge off topic, we spent, you know what, like it's
sorry, I got really excited about the idea of
54 minutes.
Charge.
We started the conversation about balance patch at 2 hours 17 minutes. We started then into quality of life discussion, which is where the transmutation charges started. That was 2 hours and 30 minutes. We spent almost half an hour on this conversation. And in
it was for the greater good. It was for the greater good.
Yeah, we needed it. You know, honestly, Enko.
Ain't it? Infinite change. Where's Darkbringer? We need to pass him the suggestion so he could give it to the gem store team.
Yeah, you know, we honestly, you know what?
80,000 gems. Infinite transmutation charge.
We need to stop here. We need to stop
You're
here.
going to, I don't know. There must be something for this, right? This actually, you know, there's a good thing.
$1,000. Oh my gosh.
There's a good thing for this Sam because look at that. He's generating revenue for Aina. So, like, you know what? Enko is here to revive the game. I like to see it.
I mean, Enko just at this point just buy the studio, mate. Just do it.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. Infinite transmutation charge for $1,000. That you could obtain with gold in game if you had enough gold in game. How many people would do that? I think some people actually would.
There's a good amount of whales in this game. There's a good amount of them, so I would not be surprised.
But it's not like the same level as whales that you can see in like gacha games or stuff like this. Because that's what I'm truly impressed by when I see individual player spending. It's like what you can see on gacha games. That's the crazy stuff.
I mean,
we saw somebody brand new to Raid Shadow Legends last month to start his first day. Hasn't played the game yet. First day, he spent $40,000.
Yeah, okay, that's massive.
What?
No, I'm not even that surprised. Like, there are so many people in some online games that spend dumb amount of money. I mean, I play waifu simulators, and the people who spend money on that, there is like this one video on someone's spending on Fate Grand Order, and the guy is like, I have a job as a trader, but that's entirely to spend money on Fate Grand Order. And the guy spends like, I think, $20,000 a month or some shit like this. He single-handedly can feed like 6 devs. That's
See,
massive.
I can understand doing something like that if it's a game you really like, it's a game you play every day and all the time. But $40,000 on Raid Shadow Legends when it's like your first day of playing, and you don't even know if you like the game yet. That's insane. That was insane. But I'm very glad Guild Wars 2 is not a game like that. I haven't spent money on this game in 5 years now, and I still have all the gem store items.
I think it's also it's cool to have that option where in Guild Wars 2 you can, if you want, if you make money in the game enough that you don't even have to spend anything from your own pocket money, right? It's like literally in-game gold convert to gems. So your play hours can kind of be rewarded in that sense, right? So it's
Oh, think of the stream that you could do if you were going to give away an infinite transmutation charge that cost 100,000 gems, and you were just giving it away to people. You're going to give one away to people on a stream for doing something, or like winning a giveaway or something like that. That'd be crazy.
You know what? We might as well just do it, right? So before the other person with the instrument shows up and does it.
There is actually a backup instrument YouTuber like that. It's spreading. The plague is spreading.
Anyway,
So I settled on 100,000 because that's how many gems it would cost to get if you got a maxed down account, 69 characters, with 6 equipment slots, 10 transmutation charges per slot. It would be 99,360 gems for that.
Yikes. That's just yikes. How much was that in
So
dollars?
perfect.
Can you give us the monetary value?
In dollars?
100,000 gems.
If it was 100,000 gems, it would be $1,250.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Or it would be around like 15,000 gold.
Yeah. Okay.
No, wait. No, it would be about 25,000 gold. Sorry.
25,000 gold. Yeah. Yeah, no, actually, never mind then. Maybe you can't get it.
I mean, you bought the stupid golden sink in the guild hall. Did you buy a second one?
I did, yeah.
So that could have been 80,000 gems right there.
I bought the second one for the OTC guild, and Deathblade is still convincing me to buy one for the Alliance guild that I'm part of, United Arts of Tyria.
Hey, that could be a GVG prize. You buy a golden sink for their guild hall.
What a way to piss off the community. Hey, you won! Here's the sink that you never wanted.
No. That's the guild reward. That's not the individual person's reward. That's
Just
the reward for that guild.
Golden sink.
And then everybody gets all the normal prizes too.
Okay. Well, I've put in 50,000. What's another 10,000 gold, right? So.
Where do you see? Because there's something on efficiency that shows you the suspected amount of gems you spent, just to see how far I am on that. Like you say, 100K to just.
I think it's under stats.
It should be.
Yeah, it's under stats and then gems, and that'll tell you your thing.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my gem value on my account is only 20,000 gems. Wait, I have more gems. I have more gems than in my wallet. I don't understand what the thing does then. The number 1 account in here is only 1,400 hours and has 150,000 gem value.
It's a lot of conversions.
That's amount of gems in your wallet.
Well, yeah, every time 2,000 gems drops under 650 gold, I buy 2,000 gems. So I bought 6,000 gems yesterday.
Because like on theoretically spent gems, like I personally never spent any gems, and it says I am at 240K.
No, but does that mean theoretically spent gems is also what you converted from gold gems?
Oh, theoretically spent gems. I need to find where that one is.
I assume the theoretically spent gems also.
I was looking at gems. Maybe that's just. Oh, never mind. Gems is just gems in the wallet. Yeah, theoretically spent gems. I'm at 1,137,888.6. 1137,886.
There you go.
I am ranked 54. Number one on this leaderboard is
2.8
2 million.
million.
2.8 million. Oh my gosh.
Bro.
Oh shit!
But does that mean theoretically spent is also what you convert from gold, right? That should.
No, this what the theoretically spent on gems. It looks at your account, and if it has if you could buy it in the gem store, it assigns it a gem store value, and then it adds that up. So I have max character slots, max bank, max bag slots, all that kind of stuff on here, and I'm only at 1.1 million. What the heck does the guy with 2.8 million have? Like, I have every single wardrobe skin.
And
I'd suspect he probably just gifted stuff to people.
And stuff like this.
Yeah, you
Maybe that guy has a lot of Black Lion keys.
Probably gifted stuff.
I think it's because, like, I mean,
mine doesn't
went
count
up,
stuff you gift. It only counts stuff you have on your account.
Oh, on your account, okay.
For real? Because mine went up like 5K on April 29th, and I have no idea why. I think that's when I used keys to buy. I mean, to open Black Lion chests.
Yeah, so you so like boosters and stuff like that. Anything you can buy in the gem store, those things count.
Possibly
Those things count.
My suspected gem spending was like 450K. I guess that's like, yeah, I'd say the average for.
I'm not even the top 25 on this thing.
Yeah,
that's the
those are
new goal for you,
numbers.
Enko. Get to that 2 million. You gotta beat that guy. You gotta be number one in gem.
What else is there to buy? I have every single thing on the gem store.
That's a rich person speaking. What else is there to buy?
No, like I have everything that goes in the wardrobe on the gem store. I have. So the only thing that I could get more of is if I buy like
boosters.
If I buy like boosters.
Primers.
I would have to buy
listen,
like
Enko.
utility items.
you could buy more keys and gamble them on stream, all right? That's what you can do.
But that would probably make the value go down. Like,
gamble
I even have all the
stream.
I just checked. I found out. I finally got all the gathering tool skins, like last week. Just like the last set I needed was available again, so I bought them. So it's just like, how the heck do I only have 1.1 million gems spent estimated when someone's got 2.8 million, and I have like every single wardrobe thing unlocked. I have all the toys. I have all my upgrades are like maxed out. It's
we have
like,
goals.
what the heck does that guy have?
We have goals. We have goals. Enko, you work on getting to number one in theoretically spent gems. MM, work on map completion. Sam, work on overtaking Patreon. All right, we have our goals.
Overtaking Patreon, that's not gonna happen.
You know, Sam, I think you're going to overtake Patreon, and I'll get to 3 million gems spent or theoretically spent before Guild MM finishes map completion.
That's actually possible there. No, but like, okay, Patreon wise, it's actually going better, but it's not that big, right? Like,
all right, so
there's a market
upgrades
for
that I can still buy.
If you look at wooden potatoes, muckluck, teapot, those are, I guess, the instrument man. They're all people who use Patreon, so I guess there is somewhat of a market for it. It's people who pay for that stuff. So
I mean, I'm actually like less.
You get more of the cut from
patrons.
Patreon.
Yeah.
You get more from Patreon.
Dropped a bit. Dropped a bit.
Compared to like Twitch.
Yeah,
like Twitch, you only get 50% of like a $5 sub. You only get 50% of that. So Patreon, you do get a higher percentage. So the only things that I have left for account upgrades to get: build storage expansion, which is completely useless; build template expansion, which is completely useless if you use chat codes. And I could buy more equipment templates, which I will at the next time it's on sale. I'll probably buy like 40 of them. Well, how many more do I need? 70 characters times 4, or 70 minus, I would say like 6 of them already have maxed out times 4. I need 256 more equipment template slots. 500 gems each. Let's go with a 20% discount. I need 102,000 gems next time equipment templates go on sale.
Yeah, nice.
That's doable. I can do that.
Yeah. Now,
hey, there's my infinite transmutation charge right there.
Honestly,
someone
honestly, it's not bad. Like, imagine spending $1,000. No, but spending $1,000 in the game, you can't justify that. ANET can't even justify giving you an item that costs that much money. Doubt they can.
Not in this kind of game. Oh. They really should just have like more packs. Like, have a 50 charge pack, have a 100 charge pack.
There were some games where I've spent a lot of money, man. Like I'm quite close to my money because I'm still like paying back my student loan. But there were some games where I in my mind justified spending because it made sense. But these are games where like that one occasion where I spent was pay to win. So it made sense.
That makes sense, I guess.
That's the only
So when I
situation where I
played
would
BDO,
spend.
I kind of did go on a bit of a spending spree when I went and played BDO because that game encourages pay to win. Like literally, pay to win there is like a thing, right? And same with Arcade. Arcade was an amazing game.
You have to pay in that one to win.
Yeah, like
to keep up
if
with people.
like in terms of like if they just kept it as it was, and then they didn't do that update 2 weeks after the release of the MMO, and then pay to win basically killed that game. It was beautiful, right? But yeah, in BDO I've seen things like that. Like I'd have to pay to win because like if you don't, you're actually behind by a lot. Like it is a game there where you, if you're not buying stuff, that game's just gonna be a grind and you're not gonna enjoy it.
So I freely admit that I have spent quite a bit of money on Guild Wars 2, like in the earlier years before I had a lot of excess gold, and I just started doing gems to gold, or gold to gems rather. Yeah, I've spent a few months' salary on this game before. Again,
I mean,
it's been years
So
because I think the last time I bought gems, the last time I redeemed a gem card for this game, Pensacola, Florida, which would have been 2014. Yeah, I was down there for a Navy training. Yeah, so last time I spent, no, I had been like 2015. 2015. That was the last time I actually spent money on this game besides buying the expansions.
yeah, it's
But
probably around the
it
same
was
area, yeah.
it is over $10,000.
Budget and history. I can tell
I
you
don't
how
even
much
know how much I spent up to 2015, and I don't want to know.
I didn't like in Guild Wars 2, no, but I can see how much I spent on the gacha games that I actively play, and that is no small amount. Yeah, that's no small amount.
I feel like
I started holding on to all my gem cards that I redeemed after the first year. So this is all the gem cards that I purchased after the first year because I didn't keep them the first year.
Jesus,
do
that's
they
a bunch
still
of...
work? Like
No, these are all used. These are all used.
used? My man.
He just keeps them as a memento.
Yeah, just to remind
So,
himself, this is what I used to
These
do.
are $15 gem cards, and then these are all $25 gem cards. And then this is missing like a year and a half worth of gem cards.
Jesus.
Why?
If I look back at my history, I started spending on online games in October 2017, and my first purchase was a single Saint Quartz in Fate Grand Order. And that's where it all started. 1 quartz.
I think
Then the next month, it was $60. Then the next month, 50. Then 100, 50, 100, 50. Jesus, there's a pattern.
there's a
25,
pound 50.
50. Okay, I spent a lot on Fate Go, and the next game that took it up is Shin Megami Tensei DX2. I started playing it nearly 1 year ago, 11 months ago, and on it I think I spent 300 to 400 euros in a year. I feel that's controlled. I have a budget of $30, well, 30 euros a month for online games. No more than that. Be it mobile, PC, whatever. 30 euros tops.
That's actually more than I spend on games right now. Like Guild Wars 2, again, I haven't spent money in 5
But
6 years.
I play a lot of mobile
I feel like
games.
in terms of in
I play
general,
on my
right?
phone.
Because
Okay,
yeah,
actually, Raid Shadow. I asked spent a little bit of money on Raid Shadow Legends on one account, and then my alt account is completely free to play. And the account I spent money on is so far ahead than my free to play. It's ridiculous. I spend more money on computer parts, honestly, because like I just bought a new Stream Deck XL, so that was like $250. Like I got an Xbox Series X. I have a PS5. We just bought Pokemon Snap. I need to get a second copy now
Pokemon
for
Snap
myself.
is so good. Like
Is it-
I've seen the videos. I haven't played it yet, but I've seen the videos and it looks so nice.
I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. My housemate's been playing it since it came out on Friday. So, but when I leave, I'm probably going to need to get my own copy because, well, unless she's done with it by then, and then maybe I'll take that copy.
when are you? Actually, yeah. When are you going to be going MIA? Are you playing the game, right? Like, I mean, you told us last time the speed upload is not that high, but like you're
I don't know what the upload is. I just got told it's a 10 meg line. I don't know what the down and up speeds are. Is it 10 meg up and down, or is it 10 meg down and whatever up? I don't know yet. That I don't know yet.
Better hope it's at least minimum of 10 upload.
Well, it's 10 total. So
10 total.
yeah, 10 megs. It's a 10 meg line. I didn't
gonna-
get told up and down though for $300 a month.
There's gonna be an issue, man. What are you talking about? You, by the way, is it not allowed to film there because it's also part of the rules?
I'm going to bring a webcam with me because for like FaceTime with my family and stuff like that, and like zooming with my housemate. But as far as streaming, I mean, the place where I'm going to be streaming from will be from my room. I'll be living in a shipping container. It's a shipping container that's converted into like a room. I'll have my own room, which will be nice because I'm a lieutenant commander, so I'll have my own room. But there's supposed to be an AC in the unit, so maybe the temperature will be bearable. But yeah, I won't be able to stream, but I could probably talk on Discord, and
okay.
I'll still be like texting on Discord, stuff like that. But streaming, like on Twitch, unless you guys just want like a slideshow, it's probably not going to happen.
It's a slideshow.
I mean, slideshow is good stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's how the rating league used to work. Still does, kind of.
I
Slideshow.
remember. I actually did the first month for raiding.
Yeah, I know you did the first one. I mean, we still work with slideshows, man.
It's a good
It's
presentation.
not
I think
improved.
it works perfectly.
But it works nice, yeah.
All right, so we've kind of gone on a huge like off-topic discussion. We talked about going off-topic, and then we went even more off-topic and stuff like that. So
But it was interesting nonetheless.
yeah, we've learned a lot. You know, I learn new things about you guys every time we talk. Even though like we've known each other like 3 years at this point, all of us, right? So yeah, final topics, roadmap, speculations, anything that you think might go up, might go down in price, and then let's go into more or less what do you see after July 27th, right? Because we know End of Dragons, there's going to be speculation regardless. There's people speculating on, you know, we've tried to see different models of Gen 1s or Gen 3s, how they're going to incorporate that, possibly new currencies, new materials. But July 27th up to End of Dragons release date, that's the time frame where we're really in a mystery. We have no idea what that will look like. What do you guys expect out of the game? Is the economy going to go stagnant? Do you see more activity in the game? Or do you see people after July 27th just waiting for the expansion? What do you guys think?
Let's see. I think Gen 1s will spike at the Armory launch. Elderwood and Mithril will spike as people make Gen 2s. They'll probably stay up for a couple of months. And then they'll go down a little bit. And then as End of Dragon gets closer, they'll spike up again because people are realizing they're running out of time. I think the prices on Gen 1s will maintain through End of Dragons because people are going to assume that Gen 3s are going to be more expensive. But yeah, I think if legendary upgrades are included in Armory, I think symbols or I think controls will definitely spike up in price. I think the other ones, honestly, the other ones probably won't change that much just because there's a huge supply on them. They're going to go up a little bit as people buy it, but I think controls are going to be the big one just because they are produced so little. And we might need to see what they're doing with like the Living Story 2, 3, and 4 new meta achievements. Because like for Iceberg Saga, for instance, what if one of the new meta achievements is that you need another 5,000 combinations? People are going to start spending materials on the Quaestor vendor again. So, yeah, as far as all the base prices, I think Mystic Coins will maintain in value till probably the end of the year. And then through some event or another that they will take a hard crash because those are completely artificially inflated right now. I think they're a good short sell right now, like a good investment right now if we're planning on clearing them out in a couple of months, maybe 3 months. But approaching End of Dragons, I think it's going to be a worse and worse look for those things as they eventually crash. Ectos, I think, will probably go up to 24, 25 silver. because people are going to start using them for making legendaries again. And just generally, they're a good currency these anyways. But yeah, I think Mystic Coins are going to crash eventually because again, they're being artificially inflated by a very small handful of people, and a little bit of a douchey thing to do, but it is encouraging people to buy more alt accounts, so ANET gets more money. So ANET's probably okay with it.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't say they're okay with it, but it's a case of let it happen until it becomes an issue.
Yeah, it's been an issue for a few years right now, but because
Yeah, it's not deterring people from playing the game. Like it's not
more and more people though are pushing that. Oh, the best way to passively gain money though is just wait till Guild Wars 2 goes on sale and buy a ton of accounts.
Yeah, of course. I've been advocating that for like 5 years, and it's one of my most disliked videos on YouTube. I made a 10 tips to make gold in Guild Wars 2, and I was like, number 1 tips, buy alt account. Just fucking log in.
Like Teapot is now pushing that on his stream. Like he's talking about his 40 accounts that he like just uses a macro to cycle through, because you actually only need to log in. You don't actually need to go to a character or anything like that. You just have to hit log in on it, and you'll get credit for it. So if you think about $40 of account or 40 accounts at $15 each, you got them on sale. That's $600. Guys, that's more than the infinite transmutation charge we were talking about.
You're never going to let that
This
one
man
go.
is not letting this drop.
It's the new meme. It's the new meme.
I like that idea. I like it. I like the idea of infinite transmutation. But yeah, I mean, I think Mystic Coins, ANET will either probably decide it is a problem we need to fix and release new faucets for it in End of Dragons, or maybe they'll adjust the account rewards. But I think right now at the moment they're okay with it just because a lot of people are buying alt accounts right now for that. Actually, I don't think they can adjust the account rewards because all the people that are buying these alt accounts would also get extra rewards too. I think what they're going to do is there'll be extra sources of them in End of Dragons. So,
Fair enough. Sam, what about you?
Well, when it comes to End of Dragons, when it comes to investing for that, I'd say in general, there is nothing you can do that's going to be good for sure. So it's going to be a matter of investing for the roadmap. As it comes right now in the roadmap, and I'm sure that a lot of you have already realized it, the order in which things are done matters a lot. So to speak, we get first the boss rushes, we get the War vs. Sword week, we get the Fractal Rush. What does that do? Well, War vs. Sword Rush, you get Memories of Battle. PvP week, you get Shout of Glory. War vs. Sword happens again, etc. There is also going to be a lot of the player base participating in this. So there's going to be a better generation of materials. And then for the Fractal Rush and the Boss Rush, the boxes that you get have a lot of Tier 5 and Tier 6 materials. So naturally, ArenaNet is first giving us the faucets for everything that we will need to prepare for the Armory release. So as Enko outlined, there is going to be a spike on materials, actos, etc. pertaining to the Armory. If you're a clever person, what you're going to do is you're going to invest or like buy at least what you will need for yourself in materials, Memories of Battle, Shards of Glory, etc. as they get farmed during these content-heavy weeks, and then use that for the Armory. So as of right now, if you haven't bought anything up, you've probably missed a few opportunities, but that doesn't mean that you've completely lost. You can just use the next opportunities in the roadmap to prepare for the Armory release. And I think that this is what, like, the best advice I could possibly give to you guys.
Yeah, I think Enko's actually doing on this. I don't know why he has the refinement, but it actually gave me another point to add. It's yeah, figure out what you have on your account. Like if you have, items to refine, materials that you could use for recipes, things that you could probably sell and make some gold out of, right? And then also make sure that first of all you need those maybe for something specific, maybe use them for that instead of selling. So make sure you understand what your goals are, right? Like where you're at, what your goals are. And like Sam said, take advantage of, you already know that there is a WW bonus week coming up in the May 13th or something, right? Like it's coming up anyway. You already know the dates of like the bonus weeks for PvP, World vs. World. You know when Living Story Season 2 and 3 is coming out. So you already know the materials or the items that get dropped in those contents, right? And if you don't, go do your research. It takes 10 minutes of your time. Like to go on Wiki and figure out what stuff some of these maps drop literally is on Wiki. Like it doesn't take that long, right? So if you know what's coming out in this roadmap, you have a clear outline. This is what you need to focus on. Find the materials that start dropping in these events. Start getting those materials for as cheap as possible, because once the events are gone, chances are those materials start going back up in price again, right? So make sure you make it clear, make your own roadmap. If anything, I would say watch Sam's video. He basically made a video about the roadmap, but then in that roadmap of ANET, he kind of made his own roadmap in his spreadsheet that, you know, reminds him on this week, this is what you need to buy. On this week, this is what I need to check on. So do that. Do your own roadmap. It doesn't have to be as detailed as a spreadsheet level, right? If you enjoy it, it makes it easier, because spreadsheets, honestly, they're a godsend. But do an outline. Write it on a notepad. Write it on a Word document. Go on a Google Sheets and maybe document or anything, right? So go ahead, set up your own roadmap, get the goals done, figure out what you need, and yeah. And don't just buy stuff just because people tell you this will make you money. Buy something because you have a plan for it, not because someone told you. So
give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't understand why you should buy something, don't buy it.
Yeah. And if you try to maybe do some research, maybe it could help. But if you don't even figure out why they intended to tell you about it in that way, then yeah, chances are you're probably being set up by someone to make their move. So and just figure it out yourself, right? Don't have to be smart and trying to get into the big ticket items, or oh, this is what makes a lot of money. Like I see a lot of people saying like, oh, I want to get into unidentified gear. Like unidentified gear is a high ROI, right? It gives a lot of gold, but when people forget is that high ROI is if you're, you know, doing about 20,000 plus an hour, which if you don't have the right tools set up for that, if you don't have the inventory space, you could have the best macros for it, right? TOS, legal, so it has to conform with TOS, but you could have the best macros for that stuff. If you don't have the space and you don't have the organization to do the capacity that you need to do at that output, you're wasting time. You're actually wasting time. You might as well just sell it to people who are literally paying 95% of its value, and you make more money that way. So on NID gears, I'll tell you guys what the profit is on them, each individual NID gear right now. If you're salvaging them, if you're opening them and salvaging, it's 36 copper. The reason why it's such good gold is because you're doing 36 copper 100,000 times. So you can't do it quickly. 36 copper, like, yeah, if you do a lot, it adds up, but 36 copper each, take a look and consider your time. If you're going to try to go into NIDs and like all the initial expenses you have to pay for that to like be able to process them efficiently, it's not a great deal for a lot of people. A lot of you guys would actually be better off just playing the game and making gold that way. Definitely.
True.
Yeah.
And like to go back on what you said, like you don't need spreadsheets, you don't even need to like know how to use Excel, etc. This is how I originally planned my investments. This is a paper notebook on which I wrote all the ideas in black and in red what to buy. And I have this entire paper notebook filled with my original Guild Wars 2 investments from 2016 onwards, I think. Like, it goes on over and over again. How to invest in the current economy, how to switch from passive income, prepare for living story, Winter's Day tips, Halloween checklist, etc. There's a bunch of it. Portfolio building.
I told you this before. You put way more thought,
Soulbeast preview,
and
plans for
planning
expansion.
into this than I do.
Is extended crafting still worth it? It's just a bunch of pages, like for real. It's just a shitload of content.
I swear, if I go back to my first like Excel sheets that I made, in like I think maybe even 2014 or 13, like I think 2013. I think when I saw the Egg Barons like spreadsheet, that's what got me into saying, you know what, if I want to really trade at a higher level, like I need to start getting into that. I look at my earlier spreadsheets, and if I can pull them up from my old computer, like literally it's not even spreadsheets where I have things like linked to the API. It was literally me hand typing everything. Like I did, like, and it's more me putting suggestions for myself. Check out, like, it's just random stuff. Like you would, if you looked at it, you'd only understand it if I told you what it was. It's like, you know, the notes that someone takes that only they can understand. That's what my spreadsheets were like in the early days. So if you don't have to go that detailed, right? Now, obviously, if you're gonna start using something, if you're gonna do something, maybe if it's being done consistently, you might want to try and get better at it, right? If you're not good at something, and after anything, right, anything in life, if you put an amount of energy into it, and you're just, you know, after a couple years or something or months, if you're not good at it by the time frame that you should technically be good at it, just stop, right? Maybe it's not for you. Don't force it if you don't enjoy spreadsheets. Do like Sam said, like go do notes. That's still fine. Go open up a notepad on your computer and just type out what you need to check up and stuff. And this doesn't have to be complicated, right? Don't like, I mean, even in us, like me and Sam, we love spreadsheets, but when you compare us to Enko's like you know, like let's just say god tier spreadsheets, and then me and Sam are like Baron sheet like level of spreadsheets. So like if you want to even go to the point of Enko, I don't know, you have to like really have a very specific reason why you want to even get into that level, right, of data sets and everything. So make sure you actually enjoy it. So me and Sam enjoy.
I've never written down notes. I've never written down notes for trading, because everything I do is like day-to-day, like day trader stuff. So
yeah,
like you guys are talking all this planning. I'm like, the only thing I have are spreadsheets. Everything I did was just put in a formula to check the current prices.
well, yeah, I mean, like for anyone that's getting started, I think like a plan is better than numbers, because I'm sure like for some of us who trade consistently, like we have stuff like that where we check everything on the daily price and everything. It's not that hard to do. I wouldn't say it's not. I mean, Sam actually has guides on how you could, you know, set up things that like are make your life easier on Excel, like very beginner tips. So like maybe you could still try to do something like that. It's still not really that complicated. But if spreadsheeting as a whole is really not your thing, then maybe just stick to notes, I would say. As Muck would say, it makes the happy. Yeah, do what makes you happy, honestly. Happy juice for the brain. Yeah, do what makes you happy. Don't do things just because it's very good and people tell you this is the best way. Like, you're not going to enjoy it. You're just going to kill your excitement. You're just going to burn yourself out, really.
Yeah, it's
Whatever
really,
you do,
never burn yourself out.
like whatever you do to make gold, it's got to be something you enjoy. Because if you are trying to do something that, even though it can gain a lot more gold, if you hate doing it, for one, you're gonna hate yourself because you're doing something you hate. You're not going to enjoy it, which means you're not going to do it consistently, which means in the long run, like you would have been better off just finding something you enjoy and figuring out how to make gold doing that. Like if you love Fashion Wars and you want to make gold doing off of that, start entering every single freaking Fashion Wars contest you see that like Hardstuck's doing. does them all the time. A lot of streamers do Fashion Wars contests all the time. Join all those. Like make Reddit posts about like your cool looks that you do, and maybe some people will ask you for help, and you could charge them gold, or like, you know, you could do artwork and get commission, stuff like it. Find something you'd like doing, and then if you want to, and then try to figure out if you can make gold off of that. If like one of your goals is to make gold. Right, so you can make gold doing almost anything in Guild Wars 2. Like just like I said with Fashion Wars, you could do it just by like winning a bunch of Fashion Wars contests. It may not be consistent gold, it may not be fast gold, but it's doing something you like doing. Like if you hate doing Fashion Wars and you try it in Fashion Wars contests, you know your character's probably going to look like trash and you won't win. Like you got to do something you like. That's the first thing you got to do.
Sure.
Work of an IRL job and do gems. That reminds me of something. It was like back in the very old days of when we still discussed the Guild Wars 2 economy on the official forums before the forum reworks. It was actually a meme among the traders / farmers. It was if you're not able to trade, like to flip, etc., or if you're not able to farm efficiently, you're better off just getting a job flipping burgers, because that's going to net you more money doing a better type of flipping. It's like do burger flipping and use that to buy gem cards.
Yeah,
That
pretty
was
much.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nisha, you say that 30k liquid. Once you get that, you're like, I got everything I. Oh, there's more stuff I want now. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like if someone wants to tell me like, okay, if I don't want to be super rich, but I want enough gold to do what I want in the game, how much is it? I would say 100k is enough.
Yeah, 100k definitely.
Yeah. But even about 100k is enough to get stuff that you need. But I would say 100k is very small in terms of trading. In my, I mean, I don't know, because I haven't been there in a long time. I've long past that. But like, I remember when I was at 100k, it still felt like it wasn't enough. It was a huge milestone. It felt like in terms of trading, it was still limiting. So, but 100k for anything you want in the game, sure, go ahead. It'll probably fix a lot of your in-game gold issues.
I think 5k as seed gold is all you need. As long as you keep, well, if you're into trading, you keep 5k, that's more than enough. If you want to get started in trading, I think you only need like 50 gold. You don't need a lot to start.
Yeah, of course. Like, but it's different type of things. Like if you want to get started with making gold, between 50 and 500 gold is more than enough to get yourself started and start making a lot. If your goal is to start trading with other players, then 5k is actually good, because you might need at some point to like buy up some ectoplasm, mystic coins or something to exchange for something else. You need more cash at hand for that.
Yeah.
And then there is getting to the point where you look at the gold in your wallet and you're like, okay, I can buy anything I want. I can YOLO some investments, and like I also make some like more clever investments. I personally keep around that kind of amount in my wallet. Like I think I have like 90k right now. I have maybe 40,000 in buy orders, and the rest is just stuff in my guild bank. And I'm like, okay, like if tomorrow I want to invest 10,000 gold, I won't feel set back by it, because I can just go buy 10,000 gold of items on the trading post that I think are going to go up, and still feel like I have more than enough gold to just buy the next thing I would care about.
Yeah, and I think
that's a 100k feeling. You know,
it's
you're
just
just like, I can do what I want, and I won't feel like limited in doing the next thing I want.
Yeah,
that's what 100k does to you.
The thing about that is kind of have like a daily sort of income, right? And it's kind of like not just in the sense of like, oh, you have to do something that like you have to make the use of your time to make gold, but like do stuff that you enjoy, but then it also rewards you in a way that you can save up. Because if you have stuff coming into your account, like if you're someone who has 10 alts, right? If you have 10 alt accounts that, and you're saying that I only have 100 gold or 200 gold, like there's something wrong. 10 alts means you should be able to generate 2 gold a day per alt, right? So 10 alts, that's 20 gold a day just on your alt account logins, right? And you multiply that, if you try and keep it consistent, you make 600 gold a month just on having 10 alts. So make use of your time. Don't get into stuff just because people get into it, but find what works for you. And you know, if you're someone who likes to trade, yeah, you only need 50 gold. And it's going to be a long journey before you start making 100, 200, 300 gold profit, and then 500, 1,000, 2,000 gold profit a day. But again, it's all consistency, right? Nobody makes that much money overnight. Like you have to be a very exceptionally lucky person to become an exception. But always go with the rule. And the rule is consistency will pay off. Because unless you're the exception, then you can talk. But majority of us, we're not the exception. I mean, me, Enko, and Sam, we weren't exceptions. Like we didn't just get rich overnight. We literally kept doing this since the release of the game. And there are people on the Overflow Discord who are also consistently doing what they do to get to 100k, and it's beautiful to see a lot of people hit those milestones, mostly because some of those people have a genuine interest in trading or a genuine interest in making sure they're covered so that whenever they have something that comes out in the game, they can immediately access it. And there's very few people who just get lucky on a drop and then they sell it and they get rich, right? So be consistent. It's not going to be easy, the first 50 gold, the first 100 gold, but slowly but surely you'll find what works for you, and you'll have fun doing it because you generally have the interest to play whatever you want to play. So what if you're both? Then I guess you're jackpot if you're both. So Actually got a perma bank recently, so I guess I am in that category.
See the rich getting richer. This is why I hate this game. Iron and Net changed the drop rates, especially for you, because they know you will spend and bring people to the game. This is what it is.
Look what R2 says. Souls is actually very lucky. He got a Conur drop. You know what
He
Souls
did?
did? Souls
He
got
got
a
a
Conur
Conur.
drop like last
way.
year. He gets a Conur
Oh,
drop.
no.
Yeah. He gets a
Sorry,
Conur drop
Drop
last
or
year.
bought from the TP.
And
Is that from the chest or was that from like the event drops?
I think it was
He got that from
actually,
like
was it from TP? I don't know, but he got a drop, and this was very lucky because at the time he got it, Cassiano was randomly buying them out for 80k, and he sold it to Cassiano for 80k.
Oh, I got mine when Cassiano was buying them for 80k, and I'm like, you know what? It'll be easier for me to get 80k than it'll be for me to get a Connor, so I'm gonna keep the Connor.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Enko, I commend you. You know why? Because you have morals. You didn't cave in to capitalism. You kept it for yourself.
I mean, the only reason why I bought the Connor was for my collection. I haven't actually used it on a character. It's been sitting on my Sir Engineer that has all my other infusions on there. It's just sitting there. I haven't used it yet. Same thing with those confettis. The ones I got from 4 Winds, I haven't touched them yet. The only aura infusions I use are the chalk egg sacs I have, and then ghostlies. I don't use any other aura infusions. Oh wait, I have a Queen Bee on my Mirage. That's it.
Anyway, well, do we have any other topics to discuss? Because now we're probably just taking questions from chat or at closing. Because if we don't have anything else, we can wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so, and we can go raid somebody.
Buy controls. Buy controls.
You know, it's like these old discs that reset themselves after like one sentence. Like, you know, very old 33 turns discs, like vinyls.
Cassiano is a whale and a good trader, if I understand correctly. Yeah, like
Yeah, he does high-end flips now. He's got that.
I would say he's a combination of somebody who spends a lot on this game, but then actually knows what to do with the gold when he spends the money to buy it. So like, yeah, he's a different. I wouldn't say he's a whale that just spends to spend. He's a whale that spends, but he trades. So, you know, whale baron. That's what he is. He's a whale baron. He's a combination of the two. If I have 5k gold but have 3 legendaries I plan to make before July, is there a good flipping strategy I can take up now that won't risk my wallet by July? The best advice, go on bltc.com. Flipping now, I mean, you might have to do a combination of things, but if you want to let's just speak specifically flipping, go to bltc.com. First of all, I would recommend for you to think for yourself, because there's a difference of flipping and investment. Investment is you buy something, months later, you hope that investment pays off because it goes up in price. Flipping is literally buying and selling within the same time frame of a day, or you could say within a few weeks, or sorry, within the week, right? At most, flipping is on a weekly basis. Anything after that is more like an investment. So flipping, go find out what is traded on a daily basis, right? What do people need on a daily basis? So go for items that have a good percentage of return on your investment, ROI, okay, that yield a good profit margin for you, but in the same time, they're not too expensive for you to buy. So these are a couple silvers at most. Maybe at most it's closing in on a gold, but not really a gold, right? So go for those type of items. Base materials, things that are traded every day, recipes for things that people trade. Go find out about you could find stuff related to ascended food. You could find stuff related to exotics, rares, runes, sigils, multiple other things. Like, I mean, I didn't even say everything, right? So find things like that. Materials, any material that you could refine. Maybe you buy the material, refine it to a higher tier, sell the refined material, right? Make comparisons. So things like those, I'd say are more safe bet on your wallet if you're not trying to be too risky, because those are things that you know will move within the day. So go for stuff is traded at mass volume on a daily basis on the trading post, because you can guarantee you'll have gold by the end of the day. And you know, when you go to log out, like that money will be with you, or at least in the TP box when you're asleep.
Yeah, legendaries suck when you're new to trading. Legendaries suck when you're experienced at trading. Legendaries suck when you're at end game trading. Like legendaries suck to if you're trying to make gold. They're just terrible. I wouldn't recommend them for anybody.
They're just a good way to move value because
Material
if you
for that are good.
yeah, I mean, like if you list them on the TP, they will probably sell, or you can use them for yourself. I mean, it goes back to what we said at the start of the podcast. Like, at some point, you will need to exit player-to-player trading and sell stuff on the trading post, or account bind it and keep it for yourself, or use it in like crafting something else if that's a material you exchange for. It just happens that legendary is being sought after. You can either use it for yourself, which is okay, or you can try and sell it to someone else for something you can exit with easier on the trading post, or for materials you will use. It's just people care about them, people care about buying them, which make them an instrument for trading. They're not good, but they retain value decently enough across trades.
Yeah, I think it's also if you're trading with player to players on overflow or exchange, keep in mind you can try and, as much as you can try and avoid ever touching the trading post, and like more or less like just keeping it to player trading, and maybe you are saving up gold eventually at some point in whatever that you're trying to do, depending on what you're doing, because different people in their trading activities will require them either to go quicker to the trading post, or they can prolong it as long as they can. At some point though, everybody ends up at the trading post because you need a cash out, and there's no better cash out than the actual trading post. You can't get gold in over huge amounts without going to the trading post. Yes, you can have alts being sent the gold, but if you want to converge all of that in one account, the trading post is always going to be end game. So don't think of the trading post as like bad. It's actually good. The trading post is good if you know how to use it for that purpose. So when people tell you player-to-player trading is the be-all, end-all, and you don't ever have to use the trading post, I think those people are kind of seeing the wrong picture. They're kind of mixing up the things. You need the trading post just as much as you need other players, counterparties to trade with, and possibly get stuff that you can on a discount, or in a sense, more or less things that you need in mass supply that maybe you're just not patient on the trading post. But ultimately, the trading post is king. So
90% of my trades are still like with the trading post. I actually trade directly to players very rarely, actually. Eternity is one of the worst legendaries to trade because the sum value of the sunrise and twilight is worth more than the eternity for most people. So if you craft an eternity specifically to trade, you would have been better off trading the sunrise or the twilight, or sunrise and the twilight rather.
yeah. Any other questions? I'll take like maybe a few more, like 2 or 3, and then I gotta go soon, by the way, because gotta wrap up in the next 20 minutes.
Same here, because it's like 11 p.m. here. I haven't had dinner. So.
Yeah, it's 4:45 here. I haven't had dinner, and I'm probably not even going to stream tonight now, so I can like hang out.
Wait, 4:45? You mean in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not meant to have dinner at 4:45.
Americans have dinner at 5. You know this?
Oh, this is actually what time this is like late.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not joking. When I was in America, every time I had friends that go over to their places or something, they'd eat dinner at like at most 6 p.m. Everyone's on the table eating dinner, and then that's it. I don't know.
That's so weird. I'm sorry, but that's like giga weird.
Do you eat like dinner at like normally 8-9 p.m. right, Sam? 8-9 p.m.
I generally have dinner at like 6 or 7. If it's a day where I'm working at the office, I have dinner at 8. Like having dinner at 6 or 7 is a habit from the northern part of Europe, like Belgium and above. You have dinner at 6 p.m. because that's usually when you're back home and the family is here. In France, it's normal to have dinner at like 8 or 9. In Southern Europe, it goes as bad as having dinner around 10. So having dinner at 5, that's like hardcore in its own sense.
Military chow hours, 5:30 for breakfast, 11 o'clock for lunch, 5 o'clock for dinner, and then mid rats was at 11 p.m.
Nice.
So yeah, we have weird hours. My family, like when growing up, we ate dinner at like 7:30 usually.
For us, it's like 8, 9 in the Middle East. 8, 9, 10 at the latest. Yeah.
I need to decide what I'm going to eat.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, in that case, we'll go raid somebody, though. This was a very informative discussion. I guess this will be the last time you see the three of us in the same channel together. So it's a little... This is a little bit sad, man. Like, we're not going to have Enko for a while. Like... We're actually going to panic because you see he does about 80, he does about 50% of the ecto production in this game. So when he goes,
might be able to talk on Discord. I just probably won't be able to have video.
Oh, well.
Or we just have the voice from the heavens.
I won't be able to. I might have to watch stream. You know, we'll have to test it. We'll have to test it the first one they get there. We're going to have to test to see how well the bandwidth is for like these kind of calls. I will test trying to stream from my laptop when I'm over there. But I'm going to be going through like a VPN also, so it's going to be so bad.
You'll only be able to like play without the webcam, so like you only have to be able to stream the actual game and probably no overlays, and the game would have to be on a very low scale resolution.
You know what we should do, Enko? You should just send us your best selfie, and then we replace your eyes with pictures of ectoplasms and control symbols, and we just rotate them in and out. So like half the time you've got ectos, the other half control symbols, and that's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just use this all the time for me.
Perfect. That's the thumbnail, by the way. That's it. When I upload this video in a couple of days, that's the thumbnail.
100%.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Hope to do more economy podcasts because it is called the Barons Club, but the whole idea is I kind of interview different guests and their story. But it's always a treat when you get the Barons together because this is the true Baron endgame, right? This is what we all love to see. So if you guys want to check out Sam and Enko, R2D2 has linked their channels, and then if R2D2 can link their channels one more time on Twitch, I'll also include a link to their YouTube and Twitch channels on the description of this video when it goes up, and I'll probably include a regular 500 gold giveaway, which means if you comment, you could win 100 gold, so up to 5 winners could win. So just wait for the tweet for that. Aside from that, there's a couple things I need to show you guys. 1,500, right? Exclamation point 1,500. Go to that YouTube video. We are celebrating 1,500 subs on YouTube. I recently now also hit 2,000 since then. That video's only been up there for a week, so it's nice support from the community. Make sure you comment your account ID in that video and keep up because there's a stream planned this Saturday, May 8th, to celebrate a celebration for the milestone on YouTube. Bunch of things that I'm giving away: Dusk Dawn and 50 MCs for up to 5 players each, so make sure you go there. And then if you tune in on Saturday, May 8th, we're going to draw the winners on that YouTube video, and then we'll also as well do the exact same giveaway on stream. And yeah, if you want to join the Overflow Discord and become a trader and learn how to make money and listen to a bunch of rich barons flexing their wallets, and it's all in a pixelated game, make sure you join the Overflow Discord. You can also find a lot of guilds that take in a lot of aspiring traders, or if you're just there to get some knowledge, which is still cool, exclamation point socials, follow the YouTube, the Twitter, Discord, my Instagram, where you can see me with my sunglasses and all that stuff without the crown sometimes. And then
that reminds me.
Yeah, with that, did I take my medicine? I took my medicine. Congrats on 2K. Thank you so much, man. Freaking Barons, god damn it. Yeah, anyway, so make sure you follow the channel. We are trying to get to 7,000 followers on Twitch. Hopefully we can hit that soon. TM Enko has something to show us. Enko got
I am expecting the best and the worst. Let's go.
I had a delivery today because I had to order some sunglasses, like combat sunglasses, and they were like $250 each at the exchange, and we're supposed to have like 2 sets. So I went on Amazon and found like combat rated sunglasses for $20 each, and I thought they were coming today, but it was something else.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, All right, well, make sure you check out Enko and Sam. So that's it for me. Make sure you also, one thing, guys, this thing, I need you guys to go to this exclamation point GVG tweet as well. Please go to my Twitter. That specific tweet, I need you guys to upvote it. I need you guys to like it, all right? We need to get Ainit to see the big GVG tournament that I am planning in collaboration with the Hardstuck community. Please, let's get that. Let's get GVG gaming back on the map, all right? It's been a long time for a tournament, and it's been long due. So let's get that done, all right? Exclamation point GVG tweet. Go to the Twitter, upvote, retweet, share it to your friends. Do the same if you want to see competitive scene back on the map. There we go, all right? You got the GVG tournament being hosted by me, and then you got like literally the Raid League, which Sam presents, and then you also have July, the Hardstuck Raid League tournament. I mean, like, you got the biggest things happening in the next roadmap. So, you know what? I'm gonna do that roadmap video. Anyways, make sure you go to those Reddit and the Twitter. Make sure you upvote. Make sure you give karma, and make sure you retweet and like. Aside from that, that is it from me. If Enko and Sam have any closing thoughts and comments, the floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen. Or gentlemen in this case.
Enko, please do the honors. Buy control
Still streaming. I'll be streaming until I actually leave. Not going to stream tonight though. I think I'm going to hang out with my housemate instead. But yeah, on Twitch, I gotta upload like the last like 6 months of raid videos on YouTube because I realized I haven't uploaded anything since November. So yeah, if you're subscribed, be prepared for a flood of about like 200 videos getting uploaded. So just a heads up on that.
Can you actually send me a message on Discord before you do that? Because the last time you fucked up my feed for like days. I couldn't find, because like I'm subscribed to you, and it just I usually check last uploaded videos to see what I'm gonna watch today, and you ruined that.
Yeah.
So please tell me I unsub resub very quick, promise.
You could just turn off the notifications, Sam, and then turn them back on.
No, it's not the notifications on YouTube.
He's got to know when to turn them off.
Subscribe to. There's like a part where it's subscribe to, and that's where I go because I watch videos every day.
Oh.
When I work. Enko literally wiped that board. That was terrible.
Yeah, I haven't found a better way to do it unless I do it like weekly uploads. But I've been really lazy with uploading them. I might only upload like the videos that are showing up in the top 10 times instead of showing every single one, because I'm pretty sure people won't want like 60 Veil Guardian videos of when we were like grinding for the record.
Of course, you wouldn't watch that.
They just want the record.
I might just look at my spreadsheet tracker and take like the top 10 times and then find those videos and just upload those and then just call it a day. Because then I don't have to process 4 terabytes of Guild Wars 2 recordings, because that's how many it's up to since I like last cleared it out. So but yeah, so I'll get those on Twitch or on YouTube probably by the end of the month. But other than that, yeah, I'll be gone for 9 months, maybe 10. And then hopefully if the dates work out right, I might still be able to do a birthday stream for myself before I leave. But I got told some weird stuff from the Navy about when I'm actually supposed to be flying out. They told me like 3 weeks earlier than I originally thought. So I don't know yet. But if it's the original dates, then yeah, I should be able to do like a stream on my birthday before I leave. So
if not, then you could still do an early birthday stream. So
yeah, but if everything gets moved up to 3 weeks, like I was being told, then I'm gonna have to like scramble to like get everything else ready, because there is still a lot of stuff I need to prep before I go. Like I just bought all my uniforms because I only had one set because I'm in the reserves. So I didn't have one for every day, and it cost $900. And I still have to get like all them, like I have to get all them like tailored. I have to get them sewn and everything like that.
Yeah. Sam, what about you?
Well, I mean, I have a pretty huge backlog of videos that I've promised for people, so I'm gonna be working on that, to put all of them on YouTube. Sadly / happily, I'm starting a new job in just a week from now, actually. So this coming week is my last week in my current workplace. So I'm probably gonna be a little bit more present at work, but also I'm gonna make more money, which is nice always. And that means that although I have a lot of stuff to make, I might be a little slow in making it. but I keep up the promise, which is like making a proper gear processing spreadsheet for people who are a little bit more allergic to it, because people like Enko have a bazillion sheets about it, and I'm trying to make it like into a neat, single, easy option for people. Apart from that, you can expect more and more videos about investments to make leading up to End of Dragons, maybe a little bit of specialization theory, who knows? And yeah, like still a lot more economy content. And I'm trying to be more regular in my like Twitch stuff. Although France is opening up soon, so I guess I'll be going out and also tossing that under the bridge. But nonetheless, you can catch me on Twitch every second day, almost. And yeah, YouTube's going to be more active, good content, more tutorials, more investment videos, more economy-related content, the usual.
There you go.
Somebody's buying mithril ingots right now.
They saw you on your stream refining them. I know. They probably saw it and they're like, you know what? I need to go buy mithril ingots.
Yeah, thank you for buying all the ones I'm listing right now, because there's 19,000 going on the trading post right now.
Anyway, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys all for sticking by the way. It's been 4 hours. I mean, we always literally get this over 3 hours. I couldn't really expect it to be anything less than that. So you know what? First time I was a little surprised because I know we speak a lot, but the first time I was like, you know, 2.5 is fine. Ended up going like to 3.5. So second time I was like, you know what? It's gonna happen. Just allow it. So yeah, been wonderful discussion with you guys. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, Enko, safe travels. Hopefully we get to see that early birthday stream or birthday stream. Either way, Sam, I would probably see more of you anyway. We're gonna collaborate on our, you know, inflation video. We've been trying to get that pushed out. That's in the works, guys. We have an inflation collaboration. See? So anyway, we're gonna raid Mighty Teapot. Continue on the hype, guys. Make sure exclamation point GVG, exclamation point GVG tweet. I'm gonna do that one more time in chat. Please retweet. All right, we need as much retweets here. All right, a lot of retweets, and then exclamation point GVG for the full Reddit post. Go upvote. Go get everything sorted. All right. Until then, though, I will see you guys when I see you. Let's go raid Mighty Teapot. Have a good one, all of you. I love you all.
Cheers.
See you guys all later.